Chapter 1219. What? You're saying my master's cultivation base has reached the Dao integration stage? How is that possible? Mo Xuani was completely stunned by the news brought to him by Zhuo Xiaoduo. His eyes were as round as saucers. If his master's cultivation base was at the Dao integration stage, then what was there to worry about in the Stargate competition? One had to realize that Mo Xuani had seen his master lose to the seniors of the other Stargate sects more than once, and he had even been injured in the process at his master's cultivation base. There was no way he was at the Dao integration stage. This was something that Mo Xian dared to guarantee with his life. Zhuo Xiaoduo asked a lot of questions, and Mo Xuani answered all of them in detail. In order to be safe, Zhuo Xiaoduo called Feng Yinhua. What's the cultivation base of your senior sister? My senior sister? That old witch. Nonsense. What's her cultivation base? Returning profound intermediate stage, she's slightly stronger than me by a hair. You really dare to say that? When your senior sister was at the returning profound intermediate stage, you were only at the cloud transformation pinnacle stage. How can you say that she's only a hair stronger than you? Cough, cough. Young master, boss. Let me tell you, ever since I started following you, this little one's cultivation has been steadily increasing. Right now, I'm at the middle stage of the return profound realm. Perhaps I'm stronger than her by a hair. With her strength, she hasn't moved for a long time. I know that this is definitely because of young master's protection. This little one's loyalty to you is as clear as day. Fuck, you still have the face to talk nonsense. Do you have any sense of shame? Hee hee. Young master is wise and mighty, open and above board, and your subordinates are all elites. How can there be one or two people without any sense of shame? If everyone is open and above board, it doesn't seem too good, right? Someone like me can accompany young master in playing cheap. Fuck off, by the way. How's your assistant doing? Guan Shana? I'm quite capable. I'm good at management, sales, social relations, and so on. My cultivation has also improved. That's why young master's subordinates are all elites. Stop. You have to work harder. I have to take the test when I go back. Zhuo Xiaoduo understood Feng Yinua's character very well. She was a typical salted fish. What's more, it was a salted fish that had already been cooked. He wouldn't move if he could. If it didn't give Feng Yinhua enough pressure, it was very likely that Feng Yinhua would sleep until he died. In terms of salted fish, Zhuo Xiaoduo felt that he was already an expert. He yearned to win his life by lying down. But compared to Feng Yinhua, he paled in comparison and was inferior by more than one level. This fellow was so steady that he didn't move at all. Don't worry, young master. I will definitely work hard, even harder. Also, I just recruited someone today. He's currently carrying a small burden in Shangjing. When you're free, you can come and guide him. This kid still has some potential. Cough, cough. Young master, I'm afraid I can't go to Shangjing for the time being. There are too many acquaintances there now. It's bound to be awkward if we meet. What awkward? You're just afraid that those people will beat you to death, right? You're a traitor. I'm abandoning the dark for the light. I'm not afraid of them. It's just that we're old friends. If we really meet, it's not safe no matter how I deal with them. Forget it. You can come back after this. All right, young master. I'll remember that person's contact details. If necessary, I can send him back to Feng Hai to report. Didn't you say that he has a mission? Feng Hai is our headquarters. It's only right for him to report back. Feng Yinhua had made up her mind. She wouldn't come to Shangjing no matter what. It was too dangerous that Zhuo Xiaoduo was speechless. Feng Yinhua was so steady and cautious that it had reached the point where all the bacteria in his body were present. After hanging up the phone, Zhuo Xiaoduo was finally certain. Granny Greedy Wolf's cultivation base was only at the intermediate stage of the mystic returning realm. Even if she had made some progress, she would at most be at the advanced stage. Although the powerful combat strength she had displayed was at the pinnacle stage of the Dao integration stage, it wasn't the true pinnacle stage of the Dao integration stage. No wonder I only sense strength, but not power. Even though I'm using brute force to resist brute force, I'm still able to contend with her. If she's really a Dao integration stage cultivator, there's no way she can do this. Duo was deep in thought. If that's the case, then the situation is much easier to deal with. However, improving my cultivation base and strength is still my top priority. I can't relax in the slightest. On the afternoon of the third day, Jin Yunsheng brought 2 people with him to deliver the Tianji orders that had been produced in the past 3 days. A total of 250 million. This number was much higher than Duo had expected. At this moment, Jin Yunsheng seemed to be surrounded by a large entourage. He even brought 2 bodyguards with him. In the past 2 days, Jin Yunsheng felt like he was dreaming. He was only a supervisor for young Master Zhua and wasn't even an official employee. However, the treatment he received was beyond his wildest dreams. As soon as he arrived at the printing plant, he was treated like a god by the boss. He was just a supervisor. Was he that important? Just as Jin Yunsheng was feeling puzzled, someone came to the office of the head of the martial arts department. The first secretary came in person and started a friendly talk with Jin Yunsheng in an amiable manner. His attitude was so humble that it was beyond imagination. After that, a few housekeepers from the top 5 families in Shangjing came in person. It was said that they wanted to do some printing business. However, before they could do anything, they all became friends with Jin Yunsheng. Furthermore, they were extremely respectful to Jin Yunsheng. Their attitude was so good that it made one's hair stand on end. Jin Yunsheng was even sure that these people wouldn't be as respectful to the crown prince as they were to him. Why was that? Even though he repeatedly explained that he had just started working and wasn't even considered an official employee, he repeatedly rejected and resolutely refused. But in the end, he still received a lot of gifts in a days. It was normal for his desk to be piled up with gifts. What was even more outrageous was that those gifts were piled up in a spatial ring. Would you believe such a ridiculous thing if it were you? Spatial ring. Before this, Jin Yunsheng had heard of it for a long time. However, he didn't even think about whether he could afford it in this lifetime, because he definitely couldn't afford it. Moreover, even if he could afford it, with his small body, he would be a source of trouble. He would be coveted by others and would easily bring harm to himself. But now, such a magnificent object had been reduced to a device for storing things. A pile. Even though the purpose of a spatial ring was to store things. After that, the head of the martial arts department asked his secretary to bring over a piece of calligraphy, saying that he had specially written it for him to encourage him. To Jin Yunsheng, be neither arrogant nor rash. Never forget your original intentions. At the bottom was Minister Ding's signature and seal. It was framed. Needless to say, just the word fortune alone was enough to become a protective talisman for any official on the continent. As long as there were no major problems, they wouldn't have to worry for the rest of their lives. Furthermore, he didn't even know how the secret of his poisoned soul physique had been exposed then. Then he received a lot of poisons. They were arranged in order from the lowest to the highest. Each set had a total of 300 types of poisons. Now, he had more than 30 sets. I need them for cultivation. Why are you being so polite? It's not worth mentioning. It's just a small matter. If Brother Jean is being polite, it'll be a slap in the face. Brother Jean, if you have time, do us the honor of having a drink. That's the best reward for me. Jin Yunsheng also asked, why is that? However, these people all said the same thing. Young Masters was said that good people should be rewarded. Brother Jean is a good person. Naturally, there'll be benefactors helping you. This is the reward for your kindness. There's no need to be surprised. Jin Yunsheng didn't dare to accept any of these resources. In fact, he was scared to death. He was just an employee with an annual salary of 100,000 yuan. He hadn't even been promoted to a full-time employee. However, he received gifts worth more than 1 billion yuan in less than 2 days after he took office. What kind of madness is this? Hence, he called Gao Qiaoer to report. Gao Qiaoer returned the call while she was cultivating. After hearing the news, she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, she didn't think much of it. After all, she knew the source of all this. However, she didn't dare to act on her own. Hence, she asked Duo, don't worry about it. Just deal with it yourself. Let Jin Yunsheng use this time to improve his strength. How could Duo be interested in such trivial matters? Besides, Wasn't one of the reasons why he gave this position to Jin Yinsheng was so that he could improve quickly? If he really only needed a supervisor, why would he go through so much trouble? Why would he specially arrange for him to be in Shangjing? Wasn't it so that the resources of these large families could be used to nurture Jin Yunsheng to the maximum extent and reach the stage where he could take charge of things as soon as possible? This kind of thing should be carried out by sensible people. He only needed to place Jin Yunsheng in a good position. As for how far Jin Yunsheng could go in the end, it would depend on him. Young Masters was said that you don't have to hand it over. What others give to you is yours. However, Young Masters also said that the master can show you the way, but the cultivation is up to you. It depends on your strength and ability. How much you can improve during this period is also a test for you. After receiving Gao Xiao's reply, Jin Yunsheng was dumbfounded. I've become a billionaire just like that? A few days ago, my girlfriend left me for the young master of a family with a net worth of over 100 million. Now, I'm just using the resources I have to exchange for money. It's enough to smash that family to death. If you had known earlier, would you still have left me? Jin Yunsheng chuckled miserably. So this is life. It's really amazing. I've often heard of women who look down on their husbands and make a fuss until the world collapses. In the end, they finally get a divorce or break up. In the end, the day after the divorce, the husband wins the lottery. This is tens of thousands of times better than winning the lottery. Life is like a play. It all depends on who's writing the play for you. Chapter 1220. Jin Yunsheng knew that he had really met a benefactor. He could control the world with a flip of his hand. In the blink of an eye, a person's fate would be completely changed. This kind of opportunity could only be encountered by chance. Everything that had happened to him was because of young Master Zhua. You treat me like a national scholar. What should I do? I don't know anything else. I don't understand. Jin Yunsheng picked up a bottle of poison and opened the lid. He sighed softly and murmured, I only know that a gentleman will die for his bosom friend. In the other clans, have you given him the item? Yes. But Jin Yunsheng doesn't seem to dare to accept it. He didn't pay attention this time. He might return it tomorrow. You must make him accept it. Yes. You must build a good relationship with him. Yes. Patriarch, who is this person? There's nothing special about the file. Ordinary is good enough. You don't have to worry about the details. You only need to know that it might not be beneficial for us to build a good relationship with him. However, if you bully him, our clan might be gone. That's the benefit. That's the benefit. Hiss. Similar conversations were taking place in the other clans as well. This included the Yu clan, the Nian clan, and so on. These were all 1,000-year-old foxes. Zhua Xiao's intention of letting Jin Yunsheng stay in Shangjing so openly was obvious at a glance. Those who were qualified to know Zhua Xiao's identity naturally wouldn't let go of such an opportunity. As for young Master Chen's clan, the patriarch was furious that his son had been killed. He wanted to settle the score with Jin Yunsheng, the culprit. If he didn't bring that little bitch to Shangjing, would my son have been charmed? If my son hadn't been charmed, would he have died today? Jin Yunsheng has committed a heinous crime. Capture him. I want him to die a horrible death. I want him to regret being born in this world. Then, within 15 minutes after the patriarch of this small clan made his grand declaration, all the businesses related to the clan were investigated. There were no exceptions. Hygiene standards were not up to standard. Seal. Fire safety standards were not up to standard. Seal. Food standards were not up to standard and harmful to health. Seal. Arrest. Tax evasion. Arrest. How dare he commit an illegal act? It turned out that there was a murder case. This was serious. Dig deeper. Dig deeper. My God, there are some antiques from the Wu people at home. Betraying the country. The whole family is in jail. After that, this small clan was completely uprooted within a day. After that, someone even sent a copy of the report to Jin Yunsheng. Jin Yunsheng was completely shocked. What kind of godly development is this? I really didn't want to be so ruthless. Unlike Jin Yunsheng, who had risen to the top in a single bound, the Wang family's strength had shrunk again and again during this period of time. The attitude of the upper echelons towards the Wang family had also grown worse and worse. Their malice was practically undisguised. The Wang family's current attitude was to grit their teeth and endure. There was no other way. He could only endure it now. As long as he could get through this period of time, things would take a turn for the better. At that time, if there was a turning point, it would be a good opportunity for the clan to prosper and shine for generations to come. On the contrary, it would be better for them to suffer the calamity of being overthrown. However, it was still better than having their flesh cut with a blunt knife. Every moment was unbearable. Fortunately, they only had less than a month left. However, it was truly very difficult. The Wang family had canceled almost all of their foreign affairs activities and endured bitterly. However, every once in a while, someone from the military would come knocking on their door. The front lines are tight. As a clan of the god of war, your Wang family's high-end combat strength needs to be transferred to the battlefield to continue the glory of the god of war. In the face of such a request, no matter how hard the Wang family tried, they couldn't reject it. Every time they came, at least 3 to 5 people would be sent to the battlefield. No matter what, they had to give an explanation. However, every time they sent people out, the Wang family felt as if a knife had been gouged out of their hearts. Because the Wang family members who were sent to the battlefield previously had all died in battle. There were no exceptions. Not a single one of them was left behind. In the end, only a notice of death and a jar of ashes were returned. The military repeatedly explained that the military was in the process of verifying the merits. After this period of war was over, they would naturally determine the merits. This statement was also normal. After every war, the compilation of all kinds of achievements, how to give an explanation to the soldiers who died in battle, and how to give an explanation to their families. None of these could be decided in a short period of time. However, the Wang family felt that something was wrong. This was too wrong. When your military merits are verified, will our Wang family still have any? Wang Han could no longer sit still at home. However, he knew that he couldn't act rashly. He couldn't act rashly. He didn't dare to act rashly. He also knew that he had already become the target of public criticism. If he could not act, then he wouldn't. If he did, then he would definitely make a mistake. However, his heart felt as if it was being fried in oil. It really made him unable to eat or sleep in peace. As time passed and the situation continued to worsen, he couldn't help but feel regret in his heart. Logically speaking, at least from Wang Han's point of view, this matter shouldn't have reached such a level. However, what was the reason for this? Why did the Wang family become the target of public criticism? The God of War family's 10,000 years of reputation and monstrous merits actually couldn't suppress the commotion caused by some small characters, a group of ants. If he had known that this would happen, he wouldn't have done it. At this moment, the core members of the Wang family were having a secret meeting in a secret room. Everyone's face was dark and gloomy. Who can tell me what exactly is going on? Up till now, every aspect of the situation is filled with bizarre strangeness. Wang Han's face was filled with confusion. The Yu family, the Nian family, the 4 great generals' families, and a few ministers should know something. Even the emperor should know something. But the more they know, the more distant they are from us. No, it's more appropriate to say that they are enemies. There must be a key point in this, a key point that we don't know about. And the fatal point that caused us to sink so deeply into the mud and be on the verge of despair should be this key point. But what exactly is the problem? Even if He Yuan Yue is Lu Yingfeng's youngest daughter, even if the Lu family is united and won't rest until we are dead, how can a mere Lu family create such a huge commotion? It doesn't make sense. Preposterous. Sort it out properly. Sort it out from the beginning. Wang Zhong sat at the side with his head lowered. A few months ago, he still had a head of thick black hair. Now both sides of his temples had turned white, and he even looked a little senile. Big brother, there's no need to sort it out. I've always felt that. This time, it should be the minister who made the move. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible to create such a huge commotion. Wang Zhong said faintly. What did you say? The minister made the move. Everyone in the Wang family was shocked when they heard this, and their faces all changed color. This was a person's name, and a tree's shadow. Just a name alone was enough to intimidate many. As long as you think about it, there's nothing you don't understand. Some things, even if we don't think about it, it doesn't mean that it won't happen. Wasn't the incident at the beginning of the incident caused by Qin Fangyang? When the minister went to the ancestral dragon martial arts festival, he clearly said that Qin Fangyang was his lifelong friend. Wang Zhong sighed. Although the minister didn't personally deal with it, he still found out a few clans. At that time, we thought that it had come to an end, and it was just a warning. Little did we know that it was just the beginning, and there would be more to come. In fact, the minister's attitude was already clear. It's just that we were still holding on to hope, and were unwilling to give up. Also, if it wasn't for the minister or the emperor, with the power of our Wang family, we wouldn't have been unable to find out any news until now, right? To be able to keep such a tight lid, how could there be no top forces involved? So many clans know about this, but we don't know anything, and have been kept in the dark all this time. What does this mean? It's just that this level of secrecy in the entire continent. Who can silence the entire continent with just one sentence? Until now, our Wang family can't even find out the truth, even if we want to. What does this mean? Wang Zhong sighed and said, Big brother, I said before that this Xiaoduo might have something to do with the minister. You didn't believe me and listed all the evidence and insisted on your original intention. That's why we fell deeper and deeper. Now, even though we still can't find out anything, but all of this, isn't it more obvious? Wang Han's face suddenly drained of blood. No, this is impossible. Don't talk nonsense. I'm not talking nonsense. This is the truth. Wang Zhong raised his head, revealing a dead look in his eyes. Just 2 nights ago, Zhuo Xiaoduo and the others got into a big fight in the business district. Although we don't know who the opponent was after that incident, Zhuo Xiaoduo and the others just left. After that incident, there was nothing to do with Zhuo Xiaoduo at all. Naturally, there would be someone to clean up the mess. Is this normal? After causing such a big commotion, there was no investigation, and no one questioned. Is this normal? Even if he's a prince. After such a thing happened, even if others don't investigate, His Majesty should at least ask, right? However, Zhuo Xiaoduo's side had sunk a large area of land, and no one asked about it. Is this normal? Wang Zhong sneered. If this isn't enough, then I have more. What else? Just that night, after Zhuo Xiaoduo finished causing trouble, he recruited an employee called Jin Yunsheng. Wang Zhong smiled bitterly. He's just a little ant with a Xiantian cultivation. Zhuo Xiaoduo appointed this guy as his supervisor. He's in charge of supervising the sales of a printing factory, and his annual salary is 100,000 yuan. Everything seems normal, right? But since 2 days ago, this Jin Yunsheng suddenly became very popular. Minister Ding personally wrote a calligraphy piece, framed it, and sent it over. He said it was a gift, but it was also a warning or a warning. The content was, don't be arrogant and don't forget your original intention. The meaning is very clear, isn't it? Don't let down Zhuo Xiaoduo's hopes. Just this kind of thing. A supervisor of a Zhao's printing factory was personally inscribed by the Minister of State Martial Arts. Is this normal? Chapter 1221. After that, the Yu family, the Nian family, the Dongfang family, the Nan family, the Wu family, and the Lu family all sent their stewards to meet Jin Yunsheng by chance or to do some business at the printing factory. In short, they all tried their best to establish a relationship with Jin Yunsheng and even gave him gifts. And their attitudes were extremely humble. Which one of the stewards of these families is an ordinary person? Isn't any one of them more impressive than the patriarch of an ordinary family? Even the leaders of the various departments with real power in Shangjing have to smile and be amiable when they see these few housekeepers. However, these people are all smiling and being amiable to a Khanate realm cultivator like Jin Yunsheng. Is this normal? The small family with the surname Chun who stole Jin Yunsheng's ex-girlfriend was completely uprooted today. All kinds of checks were carried out, and they rushed in like wolves and tigers. In the end, they were charged with treason. Is this normal? However, Jin Yunsheng, who is the most connected and should know the most, was the last to know. He's almost the same as the ordinary people. Why do you think this is? Why? For Jin Yinsheng? Jin Yinsheng is just a poor boy with a simple background. He's only a Khanate realm cultivator. Is it worth it? Then why? It's none other than Zhuo Xiaoduo. It's because Zhuo Xiaoduo has clearly taken Jin Yinsheng as one of his own. Jin Yinsheng is now Zhuo Xiaoduo's subordinate and might even become a trusted aide in the future. That's why these people are doing this. Isn't this speculation the truth? Jin Yinsheng is the only subordinate of Zhuo Xiaoduo in the astral souls on the surface. He's no different from a target. So much so that everyone rushed in. Then why? Why else? It's all for Zhuo Xiaoduo. Do you still want to ask who Zhuo Xiaoduo is? Why do these great families have to curry favor with his subordinates? Wang Zhong smiled bitterly and said, "Big brother, if it's not that you haven't thought of this, you don't deserve to be the patriarch. It's just that you don't dare to think in this direction and don't want to think in this direction. That's all." Wang Han's face turned pale. For a moment, the secret chamber was so quiet that not even the sound of breathing could be heard. At this moment, even if a needle were to fall, it would probably cause a thunderous effect. Everyone was holding their breath, waiting for the patriarch's response. So, Zhuo Xiaoduo is really related to the minister. Wang Han's lips trembled. At this moment, he felt as if all the bones in his body had been pulled out. Not only is there a relationship, I'm afraid it's not just a normal relationship. Wang Zhong smiled miserably. "Big brother, our Wang clan. This time, we have really bumped into the gates of hell." Everyone became more and more dumbstruck, like cicadas in winter. This was all because of Zhuo Xiaoduo. This kid's luck was the best among the younger generation, and no one could surpass him. Therefore, he was the only one who could pull this off. Therefore, Qin Fangyang was unlucky. He attracted Zhuo Xiaoduo, and then Yuan's tomb was dug up. It was also because of Zhuo Xiaoduo. Then, Zhuo Xiaoduo did come because of this. However, ever since this kid came to Shangjing, the whole situation suddenly took a turn for the worse, and it was out of control. Because of him, it was all because of him. Qin Fangyang, Zhuo Xiaoduo's mentor, the minister's close friend. Yuan Yue, Zhuo Xiaoduo's mentor. Wang Han groaned in disbelief. Perhaps he was still holding onto a sliver of hope as he said, "Our luck can't be that bad, right? Is it really related to the minister?" Wang Zhong smiled miserably and was speechless for a long time. You could never wake up a person who was pretending to be asleep. Until now, the patriarch was still hoping for a fluke. How could he be saved? There's no need to investigate this anymore. We can't find anything. Now, in the entire Astral Souls mainland, the entire country, and the high-ranking aristocratic families, only the Wang clan knows about this. Wang Han took a deep breath. After a long time, he took out his phone and said, "I'll make a call." He dialed a number. Beep, beep, beep. The call went through, but no one picked up. Wang Han sighed. Then, he changed to another person and made the call. When it came to the third call, it rang 5 or 6 times before it was picked up. The voice on the other side of the phone sounded a little high and mighty. "Patriarch Wang of the God of War clan, how come you have the time to call me? What honor. But Lin Yin, how have you been?" Wang Han coughed dryly. "It's all thanks to you. Fortunately, my surname isn't Wang, and I'm living quite peacefully. I don't have to worry about not being able to sleep." Everyone's face was filled with extreme anger. Back then, the clan of this chief steward of the Yin clan had encountered a calamity. The Wang clan had extended a helping hand and helped him escape. To the Wang clan, this was a simple matter, but to this person, it was a life-saving grace. It could be said to be a great favor. Now that the Wang clan was in trouble, they had to ask for help. However, they never expected this person to speak in such a way, mocking and gloating over their misfortune. However, Wang Han wasn't angry at all. He knew that this was the most normal thing to do. This was human nature. In this society, when was there such a thing as human kindness? If you had power and influence, you would naturally have human kindness. However, if these people didn't hit you when you were down, didn't beat you when you were down, didn't humiliate your high and mighty female family members for pleasure, it was already a great favor. As for providing timely help, There might be some, but most of them would only be haha. When a person who had never risen up was in trouble, as long as this person had talent and potential, there might be people who would provide timely help. However, when a family that was at its peak was in decline, very few people would provide timely help. There would only be people who would kick a man who was down. This is probably the world of mortals. Wang Zhong sighed faintly. Wang Han's face was filled with a warm smile as he said in a fawning tone, "Why do you say that, Brother Nian? I'm calling you today because I'm at my wit's end. Brother Nian, please enlighten me with a sentence." There was a moment of silence on the other side before he said, "The Wang family has been a family for many generations. Our achievements are unparalleled, and we're awe-inspiring. The glory of the god of war will bring glory to the future generations. Saying that we're at our wit's end is too much of an exaggeration. Brother Nian, a straightforward person doesn't resort to insinuations. Our Wang family has suffered a great loss this time. The possibility of us making a comeback is less than 30%, Wang Han said calmly. Brother Nian, it doesn't matter if the Wang family still exists or not. The ownership of the Nian family's 4 mansions outside the city and the 2 skyscrapers in the city will always belong to you. For mansions and 2 skyscrapers, Wang Han said, Brother Nian, you should know that these are all properties that aren't registered. With just a word from me, it could be done immediately. What we lack now is also a word from you, Brother Nian. On the other side, Butler Nian's voice was deep for a moment before he said, Master Wang, please speak your mind. I can't be away from my post for too long. Everyone was speechless. Can't be away from your post for too long? You're the butler who's second only to one and above everyone else. It was obvious that he didn't want this call to last too long. I won't say anything else. I just want to know where our Wang family died this time. Wang Han asked in a deep voice. How would I know where your Wang family died? Butler Nian said. Wang Han said sadly, I know even if you don't tell me. Why are you still asking if you know? How could you ask such a small person like me? Haha. Butler Nian, do you really think that you can hide the relationship between Zhuo and the minister from me forever? Wang Han laughed bitterly and said, This matter has been hidden from everyone in the world. Our Wang family has finally died because of this. Although he was just trying to get information out of Butler Nian, his words were full of certainty. His tone was resolute and decisive, without a trace of hesitation. Butler Nian was silent for a moment before he said, Since all of you know, you should understand that your Wang family didn't die in vain this time. 30% chance of making a comeback? Does the Wang family always overestimate themselves? Not even half. Everyone in the Wang family felt their hearts sink. This sentence was too obvious. Wang Han choked for a moment. Then, he said with grief and indignation, Although we brought this upon ourselves, the minister is too protective of us this time. Butler Nian smiled faintly and said, Master Wang, so you were tricking me. So you didn't know anything. Wang Han stared blankly for a moment before replying, Where did this come from? Master Wang, you tricked me into saying something. You've wiped away the karma of the past. The future is long. Take care of yourself. From now on, I won't use this number anymore. I'm just a servant. How can I take over your 4 mansions and 2 skyscrapers? The world is long. Take care of yourselves. Slap. The call ended. Wang Han frowned. Wang Zhong's expression became even more gloomy. What do you mean? The other Wang family members asked in confusion. Why do you suddenly realize that we don't know anything? Wang Zhong's face was pale. He was on the verge of collapsing. What's wrong? What did you think? Wang Han asked anxiously. Big brother, the Wang family is really finished this time. Wang Zhong muttered. This is worse than the worst situation I imagined. Where did this come from? Wang Han's voice trembled uncontrollably. He could vaguely guess, but he still couldn't believe it. Mr. Nian said that since you knew, you should know that the Wang family didn't die in vain. Wang Zhong's face was pale. He said, Then, big brother, you said that the minister was too protective. Mr. Nian immediately knew that you didn't know anything. What this means is unimaginable. What do you mean? because the old man's protective behavior can only be unreasonable under two circumstances. Wang Zhong said with a trembling voice. First, you hurt his favorite son. Second, you hurt his favorite grandson. Apart from these two relationships, the others aren't that serious. Chapter 1222. Wang Zhong's teeth were chattering as he said, "This means that Zhou Xiaoduo is either the minister's son or the minister's grandson. Because in addition to these two kinds of relationships, in terms of familial ties, great-grandchildren and the like are not enough for the old man to value them so much. If it wasn't his son, then it was his grandson." The moment he said this, the minds of everyone at the foot of the Wang clan's mountain went blank. The most serious consequence they had thought of was that Zhou Xiaoduo was the minister's clansman, but they had never dared to extend the relationship to the minister's son or grandson. But now, my Wang clan is doomed. Make a comeback? That's impossible. Wang Han looked up to the sky and sighed, tears streaming down his face. Who would have thought that the Wang clan had schemed for a long time and had painstakingly planned for this? They had mobilized all their resources, mobilized all their financial resources, mobilized all their experts who have been hidden for thousands of years, and even committed many taboo crimes. They had spared no effort to plan this scheme, and it had actually been planned out by the Sky Inspecting Minister. If only they had known a little beforehand that Wang Han would have definitely stopped the plan immediately, and the whole family would have knelt in front of the minister's door. But now, it was all too late. Qin Fanyang was already dead. Yuanyue's grave had already been dug up. Zhou Xiaoduo had already been assassinated several times. The irreconcilable blood feud had already been formed, and it had already reached a point where it could not be resolved no matter what. The minister did not come forward to condemn the Wang clan, and he had already given enough face to the deceased god of war. But for everyone in the Wang clan, the sky had already darkened. They were originally full of confidence, but they suddenly realized that they had provoked someone they could not afford to provoke. In this world, what could be more fucked up and more hopeless than this? All of you leave. Wang Zhong, you stay. Wang Han slumped into his chair and waved his hand weakly. The others walked out like walking corpses. Their faces were filled with deep despair. What should we do? Wang Han turned his neck weakly and looked at Wang Zhong. Brother, you have the most ideas. You, make a decision. Is there any way to turn this around? There's no room for negotiation. There's no room for negotiation. Wang Zhong laughed bitterly. Unless what? Wang Han asked anxiously. Unless Qin Fanyang comes back to life and finds out that Yuanyue's grave hasn't been dug up at all. Then, the entire family will go to the heavenly king of the right and ask him to bring them to the minister's seat to beg for forgiveness. They will also have to hand over all the people involved and send all the high-level cultivators of the Wang clan to the front lines to atone for their sins. After the minister gives his consent, the Wang clan will have to give up all of its clan's assets to Zhou Xiaoduo. If Zhou Xiaoduo is willing to accept it, the Wang clan will still have a chance to survive. Wang Han sat down on the chair with a pale face. This was simply impossible to fulfill, especially the first two requirements: resurrecting the dead and restoring the destroyed tomb. I think we can work harder. At least in my opinion, there is still room for improvement. Wang Zhong exhaled softly. Big brother, do you still remember the flower you obtained from Yuanyue's grave? Wang Han narrowed his eyes. That red spider lily? Not bad. You mean, find someone to send it back and some other treasures. Let's see if Zhou Xiaoduo will accept it. Wang Zhong said, this will be a signal for the future of the Wang clan. That's not a problem. The red spider lily was a rare treasure. It was said that those who ate the red spider lily could recover the memories of their previous life. It was a rare treasure, especially for powerful cultivators. If an accident happened during the reincarnation process, the red spider lily could be said to be the only divine medicine that could solve this problem. The Wang clan was pleasantly surprised to find the red spider lily on Yuanyue's grave. They reported it to Wang Han immediately. Wang Han was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth for a few days. He felt that the Wang clan was indeed blessed by the heavens. They went out to dig up a grave and found such a treasure. Now, the treasure in their hands had to be taken out. After all, no matter how precious it was nothing compared to the life and death of the entire clan. Wang Han immediately began to make arrangements. The red spider lily appeared in front of He Yuanyue's grave not long ago. So Xiaoduo may not know about this. When the time comes, we will act according to the circumstances. If he doesn't know, it will be our goodwill and sincerity. If he knows, we will return it to its rightful owner and also show our goodwill. Let's see if we can negotiate with Xiaoduo. As long as we are humble enough and hand over the gravediggers, and someone will take responsibility. Even if we have to sacrifice a few lives, this matter. We have to try. Second brother, do you think he will accept it? There's a high possibility that he won't accept it, and the lives of those who go will be in danger. Doesn't that mean there is no room for negotiation? We still have to go. This is the only chance that the Wang clan has. Giving a try is better than not giving it a try. Zhou Xiaoduo may be a relative of the minister, but based on his past actions, he has always respected the soldiers who protect the mainland. No matter how hostile he is to our Wang clan, he still has to give face to Grand Elder Jinghong. Okay, yes, we have to create as much momentum as possible. As for face and whatnot, we can't afford it now. I understand. That afternoon, the Wang clan issued an apology to Zhou Xiaoduo. The radio stations and other television stations were all bought by the Wang clan at a high price. At the same time, they created a momentum to send a peerless treasure to young Master Zhou. This was to express the Wang clan's deep apology and remorse. This matter was made known to everyone in an extremely short period of time. When Zhou Xiaoduo and the others came out to rest, they happened to see this news. Looks like the Wang clan knows who you are, boss. They want to express their goodwill and beg for mercy. Li Chenglong snickered. Long Yuxing scratched his head and said, Zhu's identity? What is Zhu's identity? Li Chenglong sighed and said, Damn, you still haven't figured it out? Long Yuxing shook his head blankly. Then, he turned his head to look at Wan Lixiu. Wan Lixiu coughed and said, I only have a rough guess. I didn't tell you before I confirmed it. Yu Moyan and Li Zhongming also shook their heads. Their faces were full of confusion. Obviously, they didn't know what Li Chenglong and Wan Lixiu were talking about. Gao Qiao Zhan Piapiao and the others face-bombed and were speechless. The three of you don't know? Li Chenglong then realized that Pai Yibao was also shaking his head. He couldn't help but be stunned. If Pai Yibao didn't shake his head, he would have forgotten about Pai Yibao again. Well, why did I say again? Even so, when he saw this shaking head, he actually thought for a while. Baby, your invisible great technique, has it reached the level of perfection? Don't call me baby. Pai Bao's face was distorted and he roared angrily. Bao, no, Xiao Bao. Li Chenglong, do you really want to bully me? Do you really think that you're the number one person after Zhua? Even if you are, you can't bully me like this. Pai Bao was so angry that his face was red. He was already speaking incoherently. He was a man, but he was being called baby. Baoer. It was really too embarrassing. Ha ha. Everyone was swaying back and forth. No one stepped forward to smooth things over. All right, you guys don't know? You didn't guess it? You didn't guess? Or you didn't want to guess? Li Chenglong laughed and asked. Nonsense. If we guess it, why will we ask you? To show that you are smart? Li Chenglong nodded. Then you guys can continue to hold it in. We are very smart, smarter than all of you. We are smart, we have foresight, and we are proud. He actually stopped explaining and started to talk about the matter. Long Yuxing and the others were furious. It was as if their mouths were filled with something that they couldn't swallow or spit out. So you've been talking for so long just to play with us? Boss, what do you say? What else can I say? Zhou Xiaoduo said. Since they have shown such great sincerity, we have to meet them. When the time comes, listen to my orders and act according to my mood. Everyone's spirits were lifted at once. With the Wang clan's actions, Zhou Xiaoyan's courtyard became the focus of everyone's attention. Everyone's attention was focused on the courtyard. Naturally, they wanted to see how the legendary young master Zhou would deal with this matter. Under everyone's gaze, the four Skysoar realm experts of the Wang clan, led by the third brother of the Wang clan head, Wang Yi, came to the courtyard. The Wang clan doesn't have anything to offer. We only have a stalk of heavenly wondergrass that we obtained by chance some time ago. We are giving it to young Master Zhou as a token of our sincerity. Wang Yi finally saw the real person and heaved a sigh of relief. He felt that he had completed half of his mission. At least, Zhou Xiaoduo was willing to meet him. As long as there was something to talk about, anything could be discussed. Li Chenglong and the others didn't know what was going on. Only Zhou Xiaoduo was stunned when he saw the beautiful Permitha flower swaying in the wind. That was the Permitha flower in front of Grandma, He's grave. What was the Wang clan doing? Were they trying to provoke him? Adding fuel to the fire? Zhou Xiaoduo's thoughts had wronged the Wang clan. The Wang clan really didn't have such intentions. They believed that they had already given a sufficient signal. We admit our mistake. We even took the initiative to return such a rare treasure like the Permitha flower. Young Masters, well, what else do you need? What else do you need to appease your anger? We will accept everything without any hesitation. By returning the Permitha flower, we are admitting our mistake. No matter what you say, we will accept everything. Otherwise, we wouldn't have sent the Permitha flower. If Li Chenglong knew the origin of the Permitha flower, he might be able to see through the Wang clan's intentions. Unfortunately, the Wang clan was facing Zhou Xiaoduo. The young master, Zhou, who didn't walk the normal path. Young master's way of thinking had always been different from others. Therefore, the moment he saw the Permitha flower, Zhou Xiaoduo's face turned gloomy. Chapter 1223. There's a way. Wang Yi was overjoyed when he saw Zhou Xiaoduo's expression. It seemed like Zhou Xiaoduo recognized the flower. He could get straight to the point. Young Master Zhou, get out, Zhou Xiaoduo said rudely. Huh? Wang Yi was confused. What was going on? Your Wang clan and I are already irreconcilable. As the saying goes, those who walk different paths cannot make plans together. You don't need to give me any gifts. I won't accept them. Zhou Xiaoduo slammed the table angrily. Send them out. Hearing Zhou Xiaoduo's order, Long Yuxing, Li Chenglong, Li Zhongming, Yu Moyan, Xiang Chong, and the rest immediately charged forward like wolves and tigers, chasing the 5 Wang family members out of the door. Zhou Xiaoduo said that they should act according to his signal. Now, they didn't need to act according to his signal. They had to act. Li Chenglong was stunned. He looked at Zhou Xiaoduo. You don't want it? Zhou Xiaoduo gave him a look. I told you to act according to my signal. Don't worry about it. I have my own plans. I'll bring you guys to have fun. Li Chenglong beamed. More fun? Zhou Xiaoduo. Of course. Under the pushing and shoving of Long Yuxing and the others, the 5 people from the Wang family were directly pushed out of the door. The door closed in front of them. The 5 Wang family members looked at each other. What should they do? They didn't accept it and even chased them out. The other party's attitude was obvious. They were going to fight to the death. As for easing their relationship, what was there to talk about? Wang Yi had no choice but to lead his men back with their heads and faces covered in dirt. However, he was somewhat glad in his heart. Luckily, they made a big fuss this time. Otherwise, the 5 of them would have been in danger. This Zhou Xiaoduo had no intention of reconciling. There were so many pairs of eyes staring at them. They were chased out of the door just like that. The Wang family had lost all face. His face, which had already been stepped on, sank further into the ground. But the situation was stronger than the person. So what could he do? He could only walk back with his face covered in dirt. On the way back, Wang Yi only felt that his face was burning and his back was itching. He felt as if countless eyes were staring at his spine, and countless people were pointing and mocking him. That Wang Yi instinctively quickened his pace and did not dare to raise his head for a long time. Seeing that they were about to reach the Wang family's residence, after turning around this street and passing through the business district in front, they would arrive at the Wang family's old residence. Wang, he finally let out a sigh of relief. He didn't want to be humiliated a second time. He had already licked his face and tried to suck up to her cold, but he still hadn't managed to do so. This was too disgusting, but at this moment, that suddenly an indescribable aura descended from the sky, lofty and majestic. A dozen or so people landed in front of him. They were all dressed in black and had their faces covered. No matter how one looked at them, they did not fit in with the current atmosphere. The leader shouted, "This is a robbery. Leave all your valuables behind, and I'll spare your life." "This is a robbery." The other dozen or so people shouted in unison. There was no fear in their voices. Instead, there was some excitement. At this moment, Wang, he was so shocked that he didn't know what to say or where he was. What kind of robbery is this? This is Shangjing City, right in front of the Imperial City, right under the feet of the Emperor, in broad daylight, in the middle of a bustling city. Robbery? Could you guys be any more ridiculous? What's more, even if you covered your face and came to rob me with that layer of cloth, you might not be able to change your voice a little. I just spoke to you. Do you think I don't know that yours was Xiaoduo? You should at least change your voice and figure. The preparation for this robbery is too careless, isn't it? Left. Wang had just said a sentence, or rather, a word, but he immediately felt the aura of the 14 people opposite him. They had already started to move and greeted him. All kinds of weapons, all kinds of auras, all kinds of mysterious skills. Fell neatly. Some were hot, some were cold, some were gloomy, some were tyrannical, some were murderous that this group of people shouted as they attacked. "We are the handsome bandit team of the North. Today, we are here to do some small business. If you know what's good for you, don't move. We, the handsome bandit team, will never kill the innocent. Only those who resist stubbornly will be killed and not buried. The 5 fat lambs in front, if you know what's good for you, quickly hand over your valuables. This road was opened by me. This tree was planted by me. We, the handsome bandit team, have always abhorred evil. We enforce justice on behalf of the heavens and rob the rich to help the poor. Hand over your valuables." Ow, ow. Wang became more and more speechless. "You didn't want it when I gave it to you before. You just turned around and you came to rob with your face covered. Can you be more shameless? What a handsome bandit team. Can't you guys have some moral integrity? We wanted to hand it over, but we didn't expect to resist stubbornly. But the problem now was that you didn't give us a chance. Before we could hand it over, the other party's weapons had already smashed over with earth-shattering force. The first thing that came over was the most frightening. It was a pair of big hammers that were enough to scare people to death. Buzzing sound. One hammer flipped into the sky, and the other hammer seemed to turn the earth upside down. Mixed with an appalling force, it fell down violently. It was mixed with a thunderous roar. The handsome bandit team is out to do business. Idlers, back off. Wang Han only felt an unprecedented crisis in his face. For a moment, his soul was in turmoil. He desperately roared, wanting to compromise, wanting to admit defeat. But before he could shout out the word hand over, a long arrow had already pierced through his mouth and went straight to the back of his head. The abundant force brought his whole body up and then ruthlessly nailed him to the hard ground of the Imperial City Street. On the ground, a pool of blood quickly spread out that Wang Yi's eyes were wide open. His eyes lost their light, but he still looked at a certain place in the sky in disbelief. High up, Pai Bao's figure flashed. He was brazenly shooting arrows from high up in the sky. There were clearly countless experts in the surroundings, and they weren't Zhua Xiaoduo's group, but no one noticed it. It was only when Wang Yi was shot dead that everyone woke up and looked up, but the high up in the sky was already empty. This wasn't a deliberate act of keeping one eye open or closing one eye, but rather, no one noticed it. It was truly inconceivable. Below, Zhua Xiaoduo brazenly smashed down with his hammer. With a buzzing sound, followed by a puff sound, it was as if he had smashed a ripe watermelon. A wave of blood was smashed out. One of the Wang clan's Skysoar Realm experts who came with Wang, he was actually unable to resist. His entire body was smashed from head to toe, and his mangled flesh and blood fell to the ground, turning into an oval-shaped meat patty. The one with the ring on his arm was intact. The other person beside him was completely frozen, turning into an ice sculpture. As the sword light flashed, with a crashing sound, ice shards scattered all over the ground, forming a sparkling and translucent pile on the ground. The third person's body was pierced by 6 different weapons, one after another. Then, Xiangchang's overlord halberd smashed down from the sky, directly smashing his head. The fourth person struggled to take a step forward, but a sword was already coming at him. It was the Azure Dragon sacred sword. He tried to block it, but his weapon shattered. Long Yuxing's sword of might had already split open his face. Gao Qiao or Zhen Piao and didn't even have time to attack. Unable to stop the momentum, they unwillingly slashed at the corpse twice. Don't destroy the ring. So Xiao Duo moved like lightning. With swift movements, he cleaned up the interspatial ring and other equipment. Then he shouted, "Hurry up! Retreat! Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. We're the handsome bandit team from the north. We'll uphold justice on behalf of the heavens and rob the rich to help the poor. Today, we've robbed a few fat lambs. Don't implicate the innocent. Go back and check. If there's something missing, we'll rob them. Don't be so stubborn. Let's go." Then, the black-clothed members of the Northern Handsome Bandit Gang leaped up one after another, and with a whistling sound, they instantly disappeared without a trace. Only the bloodstains on the ground were left. Countless experts who were secretly paying attention to the situation were in an uproar. Just like that, the third master of the Wang clan, along with 4 Skysore Realm experts, was killed on the ground in front of everyone's eyes. From start to finish, it took less than 20 breaths of time. If one didn't count the wrangling at the beginning and end, it would only take a dozen breaths of time. Although this kind of vendetta battle was common in today's society, and there were martial artists fighting on the streets, this was the first time someone had committed such a crime in front of the imperial city. Furthermore, the person who was killed was a high-ranking member of the War God clan, which was even more unusual. Countless years before this, people from the Wang clan had always been chasing people and fighting. Today, a member of the Wang clan was killed on the street. It was truly refreshing and satisfying. Although the countless spectators didn't say anything, they were all cheering in their hearts. This is too satisfying. Even your Wang clan has such a day. On the other hand, the experts hiding in the dark felt their hearts shiver. They released their divine senses to observe the situation, but for some reason, the divine senses they released were alternating between hot and cold. When it was hot, it felt like it would melt, and when it was cold, it felt like it would freeze. It was just that after watching this great battle, everyone felt like their heads were about to split open. Their divine senses felt like they had caught a cold. Only these people could truly understand. The people who were killed were all Skysore Realm experts. This was even more inconceivable. Skysore. A group of Skysore Realm experts were chopped up like vegetables without any strength to fight back. This handsome bandit team from the north is too powerful. Handsome bandit team from the north. What a ridiculous name. I wonder who came up with it. That person doesn't have any moral integrity at all, that even if you're doing it half-heartedly, at least do it half-heartedly that the street was completely silent. Blood flowed noiselessly. The entire area where the incident happened was as quiet as a ghost town. Nobody dared to go over to the security team, Star Shield, and the people from the city guard office waited for the handsome bandit team to disappear for a while before they arrived. What happened? Killing people on the street? How audacious. Who did it? Who did it? Handsome bandit team? Investigate. Check it out. Where did this handsome bandit team come from? Investigate thoroughly. Chapter 1224. A group of professionals began to investigate the scene. After a round of investigation, they announced that 5 experts of the Wang clan had been attacked by bandits and died. The bandits had killed and robbed. They were extremely vicious and arrogant, and their methods of committing crimes were even more brutal. The nature of this case was extremely bad. They had already reported it to the higher-ups, and they were ready to mobilize manpower to surround and annihilate the handsome northern bandit gang. At the same time, they were to gather all information about the handsome northern bandit gang. They could not let the bandits get away with it. Once there was news, they would immediately attack and arrest them. It was better to let them go unpunished than to let them go. In addition, this case was no small matter. It needed to be carefully investigated to make sure that there were no hidden secrets, no grudges, and no other social relationships. Why did this happen? The so-called robbery was too one-sided and not convincing enough. Then, there must be another real reason. Wait. The coroner team soon arrived and carefully examined the corpses. Their work was meticulous and serious. Soon, people from the Wong clan also arrived. Looking at the tragic scene, the Wong clan manager's face was so gloomy that it was almost dripping water. This was clearly a planned assassination. There's no need to investigate the murderer. This is obvious. Oh, steward of the Wong clan, since you have already said so, compared to the suspect, who do you think is the suspect? The murderer is... Before the Wong clan manager could finish his sentence, he was already speechless. Who was the murderer? The son of the Sky Patrol minister? Not to mention whether anyone would believe him or dare to believe him. He did not dare to say it. He could only mutter, "We're innocent. Our Wong clan members died unjustly." I know. Innocent people died just like that. It must be hard to accept. We will investigate properly and solve the case as soon as possible to give justice to the deceased. Don't worry, justice may be late, but it will definitely not be absent. The corpses of the deceased. Bring them back first. We have already finished investigating the surroundings of the crime scene. We can collect the corpses now. After all, the deceased should be buried in peace. Hurry up and send them to the ancestral grave. When the people from the Wong clan heard this, their faces all darkened, as if they had been stabbed in the back again. Ancestral grave? What ancestral grave do we have now? It had long collapsed. This case will be handled as such for the time being. After I return, I will immediately report to my superiors and let them decide how to apprehend the culprit. Steward Wong, do you have any other opinions or suggestions? If you have any suspects, remember to tell me. Suggestions? Suspect? Let me tell you, the members of the Wong family felt as though they could go crazy at any moment. Not to mention that this was the first time the Wong clan had suffered a loss in broad daylight, even in the entire Shanjing city. This was an unprecedented rare occurrence. The Wong family. Despicable. Shameless. How dare this Xiaoduo claim to be a descendant of the minister? He actually used such a despicable method. Wang Han angrily smashed the entire study. Such shameless methods. Where is your face? Where is your decency? Brother, please calm down. Wang Zhong calmly advised. You must not lose your composure now. If you lose your composure, then our Wang family really has no hope. You've gone too far. Wang Han's face was twitching with anger. His entire body was trembling so much that it changed shape. After a long time, he finally calmed down under Wang Zhong's reassurance. What a disgrace. Second brother, that Zhou Xiaoduo, who could be said to be the descendant of the most prestigious family in the continent, actually used such a despicable method. Wang Han's face was ashen as he paced in circles in the room. Whether he accepts or not, it's all within reason. But he just had to refuse in front of them. He waited for them to leave the house and then came to snatch them. He even killed them and robbed them. How shameless and crazy is this behavior? This old man is so disgusted that it's as if he ate shit. Wang Zhong smiled bitterly. Brother, Zhou Xiaoduo is not shameless. He's deliberately disgusting you. This is his true motive for using all kinds of methods. Wang Han suddenly froze. He didn't accept it, which made his stance clear. He turned around and snatched it back, and he didn't even try to hide it. This is purely to disgust you. It's also to make his stance clear. He didn't even try to hide his figure or his voice. He's clearly telling you that I did it. What can you do? His actions now are equivalent to pointing at your nose and saying, just like before, We set up a trap to kill Qin Fangyang and dug up He Yuanyue's grave. Didn't we think that we were the ones who did it? What did you do? We thought that the other party couldn't do anything to us. Now the tables have turned, and now we really can't do anything to him. We no longer think that way. No matter what, we don't dare to do anything to him. Especially now. We don't even dare to reveal his identity. Firstly, we don't have any evidence. If we reveal his identity, it will only make the world take more extreme measures against us. You dare to insult the minister. Wang Han sighed deeply. How can I not know this? You said that the minister's son did it. Can you show us any evidence? If you don't have any evidence, you are slandering the minister. No one in the entire continent can prove that the minister doesn't have a son. How can we have evidence? Besides, even if we prove that the minister's son did it, what can we do? Everyone in the continent will be even happier. The minister has a descendant. The whole world will celebrate. Everyone will know. Everyone will admire. That's something that can be imagined. Some people will even be so happy that they will set off firecrackers. Wang Zhong's face was full of gloom. If we insist on doing something, we will be attacked by everyone. What's the big deal about the minister's son killing a few of you? This sentence will definitely fall on the Wang clan's head. The two sided each other. This sentence was just like what the Wang clan had said before. Our war god clan has made outstanding contributions to the astral souls. What's the big deal about killing a few people? What's the big deal about our war god clan occupying some land? What's the big deal about our war god clan digging up a grave? But no matter how awesome your war god clan is, how can you compare to the minister? How big of a face do you have? If Zhuo Xiaoduo's identity was exposed, it would definitely cause a huge uproar. According to your Wang clan's logic, what's the big deal about the minister's son killing a few people of your Wang clan? Just treat it as a pastime. You still have the face to shout? If the minister's son wants to kill you, why don't you wash your necks and line up? Why don't you stretch your necks and play with the young master? What if the young master doesn't feel good about beheading people? Wouldn't your Wang clan be guilty of a great crime? Thinking of this situation, Wang Han and Wang Zhong felt so ashamed that they could die. Think about it again. The reaction of the city guards and the Star Shield today was not normal at all. It took so long for them to arrive so late. Doesn't this mean that someone is deliberately delaying the operation? And this person is probably a high-ranking official, or even a high-ranking official. After arriving, he seemed to handle things fairly. But in fact, he was perfunctory. Every sentence that he said was rubbing salt on our Wang clan's wound. He even specifically asked about our Wang clan's ancestral grave. Who doesn't know that our Wang clan's ancestral grave collapsed? If he didn't do it on purpose. This is blatant bullying of others. And the one he bullied is our Wang clan. I won't accept your gifts. If I accept your gifts, it will inevitably be misunderstood. I won't accept it, but I still want it. So I will take it back. Killing people and robbing them is just a trivial matter. Does your Wang clan have a problem with that? Everything had been deduced clearly, but the two brothers could only sigh at each other in silence. The situation was clear. Zhuo Xiaoduo's purpose was also clear. I'm bullying you. What can you do? What can you do? For many years, this kind of bullying was done by the Wang clan to others. They could only look at each other in despair and helplessness. Now, the tables had turned. Someone else had also bullied the Wang clan. They could only suffer in silence. Not only could they not fight back, they could not talk back. They did not even dare to testify against the culprit. The Wang clan had truly tasted the feelings of those people who had been bullied by them previously, and they tasted it several times more. This kind of grievance, helplessness, despair, and helplessness. They were so depressed that they wanted to commit suicide at this moment. Suddenly, someone came to report. Clan head, Zhuo Xiaoduo is here. Zhuo Xiaoduo is here? Wang Han and Wang Zhong were shocked. What was he doing here at this time? That after the handsome northern bandit gang returned, Li Qinglong's eyes turned, and he immediately came up with a good idea. Boss, this matter is not over yet. We can make use of the follow-up. How do we make use of the follow-up? Now that the Wang clan is aware of your identity, things will be much easier to handle. Li Chenglong narrowed his eyes and said, originally, we were in a disadvantageous position. We can't go to them directly. They can encircle and annihilate us if they don't know. But now it's a different matter. We can make things worse, be more arrogant, and discuss them. Let's get some interest first to vent our anger. Due to the situation, we can't really kill the Wong clan to avenge the old principal. But now we could do something else. Zhuo Xiaoduo's eyes lit up like light bulbs. Didn't the Wong clan always bully others? Today, we'll give them a taste of their own medicine. Who doesn't know how to be arrogant and despotic? Li Chenglong smiled sinisterly. Let's do this. Good idea, I like it. Ha! Don't say that you like it first. You still have to do this and this and this to get revenge. Let's have a good time first. Chapter 1225. Brilliant plan, brilliant plan. Swollen, you're so bad. You're so bad that you have ulcers on your head and pus on your feet. But I like it. Ha ha. Zhuo Xiaoduo was exultant. Li Chenglong, I've racked my brains to come up with ideas for you, and all I get is ulcers on my head and pus on my feet? This bastard. It's settled then. After making up his mind, young Masters couldn't wait any longer and went to the Wong family. Since he was going to vent his anger, he had to do it ruthlessly. So Xiaoduo dragged Lu Yingfeng along. Lu Yingfeng was more resentful than anyone else. So Xiaoduo was certain. Now that his identity was clear and the curtains had not been drawn, the Wong family wouldn't dare to do anything to him even if they were given 10,000 guts. Therefore, he was exceptionally safe. Thus, everyone left in a grandiose manner. Although they felt like they had eaten a fly, the Wong family still chose to welcome Zhuo Xiaoduo, Lu Yingfeng, and the others in with the etiquette of welcoming VIP guests. The head of the family, Wang Han, even personally came out to greet them. One could imagine the grievance in the heart of the head of the Wong family. He even had to suppress his anger and suffer internal injuries. Ayaya, the Wong family is so big. Zhuo Xiaoduo strode forward with the air of a son of the heaven inspecting minister. With a reserved expression, he said, not bad, not bad. This residence is excellent. Li Chenglong, who was dressed like a butler, crooked his nose and said, how much wealth did the people spend on this house? The Wong family looked at him. How could this butler speak like that? You're even in front of us. How could you be a guest? Ha ha. Be careful with your words. Zhuo Xiaoduo said, you have to be flexible. Don't speak the truth. It's easy to offend people. Li Chenglong understood. Big brother is right. I'm a straightforward person. But this place is indeed extremely extravagant. There's an ancient saying, wine and meat stink behind the red door, and frozen bones lie on the road. It's probably referring to the Wong family. The Wong family was speechless. If you don't know how to speak, then speak less. Wang Han held back his anger and smiled. Young Masters, for you to come here today, I wonder, is there something important? It's nothing. So Xiaoduo laughed and said, actually, there are some things that are hard to talk about. Young Masters, feel free to speak your mind. It's like this. During this period of turmoil and chaos, my side is also in a state of panic. Moreover, we have suffered quite a lot of losses. Look, my father gave me a few treasures, and I accidentally lost them. This is somewhat inexcusable. My father gave them to me. My father. Wang Han's face turned green. This scare almost made him lose his soul. What was there to not understand? We wanted to kill Zhuo Xiaoduo's parents, but we couldn't find them. If that's the case, that could it be that our Wong clan almost assassinated the minister? A layer of cold sweat appeared on Wang Han's back. His face was covered in white sweat. For a moment, his mind was in turmoil. He actually didn't pay attention to what Zhuo Xiaoduo said. Zhuo Xiaoduo laughed. Lost something, just lost something, ha ha ha. Old man, you're playing dumb. But how can I let you play dumb? Wang Han came back to his senses. For a moment, his mind was blank. He could only follow Zhuo Xiaoduo's words and said, young Master Zhuo, lost something? The moment he asked this question, he suddenly felt an ominous premonition in his heart. Then, he saw LV Yingfeng's half-smile. Wang Han's face finally changed. Next to him, Li Chenglong stood up. His face was filled with righteous indignation. He pointed at Wang Han's nose and scolded, "Wang Han, why are you playing dumb? Our boss lost something because your Wang clan stole it, and you're still pretending to be innocent. You put a donkey on your nose. Do you think you're pretending to be an elephant? Don't you know that this thing is soft when cut off?" Wang Han almost vomited blood. "My Wang clan stole it? Where did this come from?" Countless Wang clan members glared at Li Chenglong. They couldn't wait to rush up and eat him up. Zhou Xiaoduo pretended to be angry. "Swollen, what nonsense are you talking about?" Then, he looked at Wang Han with a fake smile. "Wang clan master, I'm sorry. I'm just a housekeeper. I don't know how to be flexible. I'm straightforward and like to speak the truth. Please don't mind." "I don't mind." Wang Han looked at Li Chenglong as if he wanted to eat someone. "I don't mind at all. Yous with Xiaoduo are really talented. This is your housekeeper? Who are you kidding? Who doesn't know that this is Li Chenglong? He even has the extremely high title of Generation's military advisor. The generals all over the world are drooling over him. Can you, Zhou Xiaoduo, afford to use such a housekeeper?" "Well, Zhou Xiaoduo is the minister's relative. It seems like he can still afford to use him." Wang Han didn't dare to get angry. He could only grit his teeth and say, "My Wang clan didn't steal." These words were full of grievance and anger. "Bullshit. Bullshit. You didn't steal. You said you didn't steal, so you didn't steal? There are witnesses and evidence. You actually dare to open your mouth and say such things. You're really full of lies. Do you think that just by moving your lips, you can poop out like an anus?" Li Chenglong scolded. "Look at your lack of confidence. It's obvious that you're guilty. Did you get the fucking fire of the sound path?" Wang Han's blood immediately rushed to his head. Too unpleasant to listen to. Too unpleasant to listen to. This bastard's mouth is smellier than a dung pit. "Wang clan master, please don't mind." "Actually," Zhou Xiaoduo said hypocritically. Wang Han couldn't take it anymore. "Li, you said you have witnesses and evidence. Where is it? Take it out. Even if you have a respectable status, you can't slander good people for no reason." "Good people?" Li Chenglong laughed out loud with his nostrils pointing to the sky. "Your Wang clan still dares to talk so arrogantly in this day and age. You keep saying that you are good people. Do I not know the meaning of the word good? Or do I misunderstand the meaning of the word?" LV Ingfeng, Long Yusheng, and the rest were so satisfied that they fell from the bottom of their feet to the top of their heads. Especially LV Ingfeng. He was so happy that he was about to fly. The scolding was so vicious and unpleasant to the ears. "But I really like it. To be able to see Wang Han being scolded in front of him was the most pleasing thing in his life." Looking at Wang Han's sullen face, the more LV Ingfeng looked at it, the more he felt that he couldn't get enough of this face. A little more sullen would be even better. Long Yusheng, Yu Moyan, and the rest were all enlightened. Li Chenglong's eloquence was really something. No wonder Li Chenglong volunteered to do this job. This guy's eloquence was really good. He was so good at scolding people. There were so many good words that I couldn't even think of in my dreams. I know many of them, and I know how to use them. But to string them together to form the most vicious words, I couldn't even think of it even if I was beaten to death. Zui Xiaoduo chuckled. "Patriarch Wang, it's like this. When you sent me the red spider lily, I didn't want it, and I was very angry. This, haha, I can't hide it from you. You know about this, right?" Wang Han let out a muffled groan. "You still have the face to say that you snatched it back long ago, and you even killed everyone. And you still want to talk about the red spider lily? Where did you get the face? How can you not feel embarrassed? I know, right? How can I not know?" Zhou Xiaoduo said. "But there's a reason why I'm angry. To tell you the truth," Zhou Xiaoduo said, "back then, my father and mother were afraid that we were too young and insensible and would cause trouble, provoking people we shouldn't provoke. What if we got injured or something? Right, that wouldn't be good. If we provoked those unreasonable bastards, it would be inevitable that our friends and elders would be killed and their graves dug up. It would be even more unpleasant. Wang family head, don't you think so?" Zhou Xiaoduo said with a smile. His eyes were as sharp as knives. Wang Han coughed and said, "Young master Zhou, you're right. This is human nature. So Xiao Duo chuckled. In order to avoid this, my father and mother prepared something for me. As for me, I was really disappointing at that time. Because my family was relatively well off, I didn't take anything to heart. Now that I think about it, I'm really ashamed. You should know that every porridge and meal is not easy to come by. Every strand of food is hard to come by. Who knows that every grain of food on the plate is hard to come by? Am I right, Patriarch Wang? Wang Han lowered his head and rolled his eyes. You're pretty fucking cultured. Among the things my parents gave me, there was a heavenly treasure. Yes, a red spider lily. Some time ago, it was stolen. Along with it were a lot of heart of stars, jade of astral souls, heavenly weapons, heavenly treasures, and so on. A lot. This was really embarrassing, but the amount of things I stole was really not small. It's already hurting my bones. Originally, the things were stolen because I wasn't good enough. It has nothing to do with anyone. I've already admitted my loss. In life, who hasn't stepped on a pile of dog shit and been disgusted a few times? But today, when I saw the red spider lily you sent over, I felt that it looked very familiar. So as Xiao Duo said, red spider lilies should all look the same, right? Wang Han said coldly. He finally understood. These guys were clearly here to disgust him, extort him, and humiliate him. Ah, is Master Wang implying that you've seen other red spider lilies before? And you've seen more than one? So Xiao Duo asked in surprise. Rare treasures like the red spider lily. How many of them were there in this world? I wouldn't dare. But if it's the red spider lily, although the Wang family's foundation is shallow, we still have a few, Wang Han said coldly. So Xiao Duo laughed and said, Of course, I don't mean to question Master Wang, but I can confirm that the red spider lily you took today was mine. May I ask how you can prove it, Master Zhua? Proof is easy. I've been mischievous since I was young. The main reason is that I'm a possessive person. I like to leave my own mark on things that belong to me. So Xiao Duo explained with a face full of smiles. On that red spider lily, I pinched one of its petals with my fingernail. And I even drew a little turtle on the pinch mark. Ha. I was young and ignorant back then, but I didn't want to become the evidence of today's events. A carving and a peck. Could it be that it's destined? So Xiao Duo laughed and said, As long as Master Wang takes out that red spider lily, I'll show it to you. The evidence is conclusive, so there's no way for you to deny it. Chapter 1226. Take out. Wang Han glared at him. You really have a nerve to say that. You've already taken it, and now you want me to take it out to confront you? What nonsense are you talking about? Wang Han was so angry that he leaned back and said with a dark face, But this red spider lily was just taken away by the damn Northern Handsome Bandit group. Taken away? So Xiao Duo narrowed his eyes and said, Wang family head, it doesn't matter if it was snatched away. As the saying goes, the net of heaven has a long arm, and those who kill and steal will have their own retribution. But I have other evidence to prove that the Permitha flower that the Wang family took out today indeed belonged to me. Evidence? What evidence? I took a photo when you sent it to me. Master Wang, you'll know when you see it. So Xiao Duo took out his mobile phone, opened the camera, and showed him a photo, saying, Master Wang, please take a look. In the photo, Wang, he was holding a red spider lily in his hand with a fawning look on his face. And on the petals of the red spider lily, there was a fingernail print and a little turtle that was not very cleared out, of course. This was the photo taken by Li Chenglong when he disguised as Wang Yi. With his current cultivation, it was easy for him to control the muscles on his face to change into another person's appearance for a short time. That Wang Han's face suddenly darkened. How could he frame me like this? I've lived long enough to see this. So where's your face? Where's your face? Is this fun? Is it really fun? So Xiao Duo pointed at the photo and said, Master Wang, look, isn't this a fingernail print? Isn't this a little turtle? Isn't this your third brother? What's his name? Wang Yi. Does this count as conclusive evidence? Wang family head, give us a straightforward and fair answer. Li Chenglong stood at the side and said proudly, The truth is that it was the Wang family who stole our things. The Wang family is a thief. Wang Han's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. He didn't speak for a long time. After a long time, he took a deep breath and said, "Young Masters, what do you want to do? Do you want to completely humiliate our Wang clan?" Before Zhuo Xiaoduo could say anything, Li Qinglong slammed the table and stood up. "What do you mean by that? You guys are fucking thieves, and you still think you're in the right? Was this how the Wang clan, which had a history of 10,000 years, got rich? Huh. During the day, he behaved like a human, but at night, he became a thief with his family, killing people, robbing tombs, and robbing tombs. That's how they managed to build up a clan of 10,000 generations. Can your Wang clan be any more shameless? Was it possible? Wang family head, do you have any shame? Why do I look like an ass? Open your mouth and let me see. Are there any teeth in your mouth? Don't tell me it's really upside down. Move further away and let me see. Don't really spit out shit." PFFF, Xiang Chong, Long Yuxing, and the others couldn't help but turn their heads and spit. Because they had already foreseen that they would be scolded harshly today, the group of female classmates did not come. However, the group of male classmates did not miss a single one, and all followed along. At this moment, all of them felt so good that their intestines were about to cramp. However, they all made up their minds. In the future, they must not provoke Li Qinglong. This guy was too vicious when it came to scolding people. They would rather provoke Zhuo and get beaten up than provoke Li Qinglong's poisonous tongue. It was too powerful, and no one could withstand it. Wang Han was finally angry. He slammed the table and stood up. "They don't go too far. The Aries clan is not to be trifled with." Li Qinglong was also furious. He slammed the table and stood up. "So what if you're from the Aries clan? You think the Aries clan can steal? You think the Aries clan can be unreasonable? Now that there are witnesses and evidence, do you still want to go to court for such an obvious thing? Fine. Since you don't want to admit it, we'll go to court and let the country and the law be the judge. Let Uncle Nyo from the law enforcement department handle the case impartially and settle the matter. Go. Let's go to the law enforcement department now. I don't believe that there's no room for reasoning in this world. The War God clan can do whatever they want, be unscrupulous, and have no taboos. Patriarch Wang, I only want to ask you, if the law enforcement department decides that you stole, what will you say?" Li Qinglong slammed the table. He puffed out his chest and raised his head, spittle flying everywhere. Wang Han could only feel his blood pressure rising. He was about to vomit blood. Was there need to go to court? Wang Han knew very well that no matter where this case went, the Wang clan would lose. Even if they were to fight in front of the emperor would only say, "It was your Wang clan who stole it." Although everyone knew that the evidence was fake, no one would speak up for the Wang clan. Everyone would say, "This is the truth." So Xiaoduo could only point out 2 pieces of evidence to prove that it was him. However, at that level, they could easily find 1,000 pieces of evidence to prove that it was Zhuo Xiaoduo's. This was a case that they were bound to lose. And the Wang clan had done this kind of thing no less than thousands or tens of thousands of times over the past few thousand years. As long as they wanted something, they would buy it for 100,000 yuan for something that was originally worth 100 million yuan. Not selling it? Just nice. They could even save that 100,000 yuan. When they went to court, they had plenty of evidence. This was originally their clan's. They didn't want to bully others, so they said that they bought it back with money that then the verdict would be. Yes, this was their clan's. They didn't have to spend a single cent. They didn't even have to pay for the lawsuit because the loser would pay for it. How simple. They could even earn a good reputation. But today, the same method was being used on him. This feeling was really terrible. Zhuo Xiaoduo sighed and said, "Patriarch Wang, I don't understand. If you stole something, so be it. Can't you just return it? I don't have any excessive demands. With such conclusive evidence in front of us, why do you have to deny it? You're tarnishing the glory of the Aries clan for no reason. We didn't steal it." Wang Han was so wrong that his chest was about to explode. "You really didn't steal it?" Zhuo Xiaoduo narrowed his eyes. "Since you, Patriarch Wang, are so certain, then you don't intend to be reasonable. Then I can only find someone reasonable. What do you want?" Wang Han softened. Although he didn't know whose was Xiaoduo was looking for, he was sure that it was someone he couldn't afford to offend. And there weren't many people like this in Shangjing, but there were also quite a few. With the Wang clan's current situation, it was unwise to make such a big enemy on the surface. Instead of feeling even more uncomfortable when the time came, and the arrival of a big shot might further affect the overall plan, it was better to act like a gangster now. Didn't he already understand that the situation was stronger than him? What I want is very simple. As long as you give me my things, I'll turn around and leave. I won't stay here, is what Xiaoduo said. Your things. Wang Han vomited blood. What things do you have? I'll give them to you. By saying this, he was determined to compromise to the end and spend money to avoid disaster. This was something that couldn't be helped. The situation was stronger than him. I really don't know what things you have. So Xiaoduo looked indifferent. I just took them to time and didn't see what they were. Anyway, there are a lot of treasures and weapons. Wang Han was dumbfounded. If you don't even know, then how can we compensate? What do you mean by a lot? How about this? You open your warehouse and we'll go in and take a look. You see, my things are marked. We definitely won't take things casually. So Xiaoduo looked serious. Puff. Wang Han finally couldn't help but vomit blood. Are you fucking here to raid my house? If you open my family's treasury, as long as you want something, you can put your fingerprints on it and it'll be yours. I can even think of this with my ass. In this way, if you empty my family's warehouse, my family will have a reputation of being thieves. Moreover, what you steal is the minister's family's treasure. This is simply a big black pot, and it's coming down so wildly. But you have to admit it. If you don't admit it, your Wang family might be gone today. As long as Xiaoduo says something, someone will immediately come to enforce the law impartially and seal the Wang family's warehouse, allowing Xiaoduo to go in and find his own things. This is a done deal. Well, the Wang family had such an experience before. Of course, it was always the Wang family who went into other people's warehouses to search for the things they wanted. Fine, I admit it. Wang Han gritted his teeth. I hope young Masters would keep his word. After you find what belongs to you, don't cause any more trouble. So Xiaoduo was displeased. He said, Wang family head, who are you looking down on? Am I, Xiaoduo, that kind of person? He said with a righteous face. Am I causing trouble? I'm the owner. Justice is in the heart of the people. How can black and white be mixed up? Ugh. Wang Han only felt that his vision was turning black. What a good question. Are you, Xiaoduo, that kind of person? What do you think? Can't you have some self-awareness in your heart? He gritted his teeth and said nothing. He waved his hand and ordered, Housekeeper, open the warehouse. So Xiaoduo turned his head and said, Lu family head, why do I hear that your family has lost a lot of things? Lu Yingfeng almost laughed out loud. He hurriedly held it in and said, Yes, we have lost a lot of things over the years and haven't found them. The other party is so powerful that the Lu family can't get them back. Are there any markings on those things? Yes, there are. We have lost a lot of things in the past and hope to find them one day. Naturally, there are markings, but what's the use of just having markings? How is it useless? Let's go in and look for them together later. Since my lost red spider lily is in the hands of the Wang family, maybe your lost things are also in the hands of the Wang family. But you have to be honest. Don't take things that don't belong to your family. Of course. Lu Yingfeng looked relieved. It's all thanks to young Master Zhua. Otherwise, my family's ancestral property would never be returned. Wang Han spat out another mouthful of blood. Please, the warehouse door is already open. Wang Han really didn't want to say another word to these two shameless people. Whatever, take whatever you want. As long as you can leave quickly today, I'm willing to give up everything. Let's go quickly. So Xiaoduo laughed, stood up, and walked forward. Li Qinglong muttered as he walked. What kind of fucking world is this? How can he be so righteous when he's a thief? Have some shame. Can't he have some shame? Look at his face. It's as if we're here to blackmail him. I really can't stand it. Are people so shameless nowadays? I've lived long enough to see this. Chapter 1227. Li Qinglong mumbled to himself as he walked. I can't believe there's such a shameless person in this world. There are all kinds of people in this world. He's so hesitant to open a storeroom. There's solid evidence, but he still refuses to admit it. It's fine if he doesn't admit it, but he agreed to let us take it. He's so arrogant. Arrogant. My horizons have been broadened today. Wang Han walked quickly at the front, keeping a distance from Li Chenglong. He was really afraid that he would die from anger. However, when Li Chenglong saw that he was far away, he infused his voice with spiritual energy. Instantly, his voice boomed like a loudspeaker in the Wang family mansion. Everyone in the Wang family was trembling with anger. They watched as Xiaoduo and the others entered the storeroom. Of course, the Wang family had more than one storeroom. That was for sure. Even the items stored in this storeroom were not the real treasures of the Wang family. However, Xiaoduo also knew that it was not easy for the Wang family to open this storeroom. In other words, this was the Wang family's bottom line. After entering, they were greeted by a pile of top-grade jade of astral souls. Found it. It's really here. So Xiaoduo cheered. These are all from my family. I remember it clearly. My family's items all have my family's aura. My family star soul jades all have spiritual energy. And there are even fingerprints on them. He casually grabbed a piece and said, "Go and check this piece. See if there are any fingerprints on it, and if there's any spiritual energy in it. These are all solid evidence. We can't erase them." The few people from the Wang clan who came in with him were so angry that they were bewildered. Then, they saw Xiaoduo walking in. "The herbs here are also from my family. There's spiritual energy and fingerprints. I even peed on them when I was young. The smell of urine may have dissipated, but there's a 99% chance that my aura is still there. This pile looks familiar. It looks like the ones my family lost. I have to touch it to see if there are any fingerprints on it. Most likely there are. Yes, these weapons clearly belong to my family. My fingerprints are on them. I took a closer look and my face is on them." Wang Han was so angry that his chest felt stuffy. He clutched his chest and sat down. Forget it. I won't go with you. I'll just wait here. Just take whatever you like. You could do whatever you want. In any case, I don't want to listen to you anymore." However, that Li Chenglong's voice grew louder and louder. The Wang family is really shameless. So many lost items are actually in their house. Look. Haven't we found them? Just now, they still had the guts to say that they didn't steal anything. It's only because boss is benevolent. If we were to report this to the police, what good would the Wang clan have? How shameless. Sure enough, the original capital accumulation of the big aristocratic families is bloody and illegal. The Wang clan has stolen so much from our home alone. How infuriating. These should belong to the Liu clan. Look, there are markings on them. These herbs are split into two, clearly representing the Liu clan. This is the guidance of the heavens. I can't stand some people's shamelessness. This should also belong to the Liu clan. Master Liu, take one and see if there are any fingerprints on it. These weapons definitely belong to the Liu clan. Fingerprint verification. Master Liu, touch it and see if there are any fingerprints on it. These pills belong to my family. Yeah, there are even Liu clan's pills among them. These few star cores definitely belong to my family. Other than my family, there are no other places. If there are other places, then they must have been stolen from my family. It's an extremely simple deduction. No wonder my Flaming Sun Sutra hasn't made any progress for so long. So the Flaming Sunstone that aids my cultivation has been stolen here. How vicious. Yeah, there are so many yin cats here. I was wondering why her extreme cold Xian ice was gone. So it was here. Did you recognize the wrong person? There's no mistaking it. This is emitting yin cat's exclusive ice-cold aura. These herbs look so familiar. They belong to my family. That's also my family. This belongs to the Liu clan, right? It belongs to the Liu clan, right? Master Liu, your clan is the same as ours. Both of you are not strict enough. Besides, there's nothing we can do. They're strong in martial arts and tyrannical in power. It's already a blessing for us to be able to find lost items. If we insist on asking for more, I'm afraid we will be silenced. They're the clan of the god of war. Their glory is limitless. Destroying small fries like us is nothing to them. Does this frame belong to the Liu clan? Damn it. How much did the Wang clan steal? Looking at this wall now, it looks like it belongs to my family. Finally, under everyone's watchful eyes, Zhuo and the others walked out of the warehouse in a single file. Wang Han looked into the warehouse with a hopeless expression. Suddenly, his vision turned black, and he almost fainted. Such a huge warehouse had been emptied. Yes, it was empty. It was completely empty. Even the countless iron frames were gone. Now, this warehouse had really been emptied. It could be said that even a mouse would have to come out with 2 streams of tears in its eyes. Zhuo and Li Chenglong, who were walking out, were still muttering regretfully. There are still so many good things that haven't been found. Those precious treasures of heaven and earth, divine weapons, must have been hidden away. This is a reasonable thing. But what we found today is only worth a little. What's worth? The ones that we didn't find are the real good stuff. You should be happy that we can find these things. But the Wang clan is clearly perfunctory with us. Damn it. There are actually such shameless people in this world. Butler Swollen, how many things have we not found? I don't care about these things. I can't remember clearly, Zhuo said. Just the things that you mentioned in the past. We have recovered less than 1/10 of the total. And this time, we have recovered all the common goods. There are no high-quality goods to speak of. Sigh. Li Chenglong sighed, as if he was extremely distressed. Damn, only 1/10 of the goods. Still not enough? How many good things have been stolen from our family? Why don't you think about it? Our family is worthy of its name. It is the real #1 family in the world. How can we not have good things? How can we not have good things? How can Uncle and Annie not give you good things? Yes, that does make sense. Then, Zhuo turned around and said, Master Wang. Wang Han stood up shakily and said, Young masters with ease. Things have been returned to their rightful owners. Today's matter, is it okay? Wang Han, the master of the Wang clan, looked as if he had aged a few decades in this short period of time. The wrinkles on his face had deepened. Zhuo said, but there are still a lot of lost items that haven't been found yet. I've only recovered less than 1/10 of the items. Look at Patriarch Lu's worried face. The amount that we've recovered is definitely far from enough. But our Wang clan only has this one warehouse. There is nothing else. Who are you lying to? TSK, do you think I will believe you? My family has 400 to 500 warehouses. Wang Han wanted to say, who are you lying to? Show me the 400 to 500 warehouses in your family. Hurry up. Open the other warehouses as well. We have to continue to prove it. We will not touch anything that has nothing to do with us. If there is no evidence, we will not touch it. I have already said so. I am very sincere, right? Zhuo urged. But our Wang clan only has this one warehouse. Wang Han swore. He insisted that his family only had this one warehouse. That can't be right. Zhuo's eyes were full of distrust. You clearly said that your family has a lot of spider lilies. Why didn't I see any in the warehouse? The Wang clan definitely has more than one warehouse. Wang Han, now you understand. You took one and still think it is not enough. Seeing that this guy was not going to leave until he gave it to him, Wang Han waved his hand with a headache. Housekeeper, go to my study and bring the 2 jade boxes with the spider lilies. Let young masters would take them away. Take it as a token of my appreciation. What do you mean by a token of your appreciation? Those are clearly mine. My dad told me that only our family has these things. As for the others, Zhuo rolled his eyes. He might as well use the tiger's skin as a flag. Fine. They are all yours. Wang Han was getting weaker and weaker. This young man in front of him had even dragged the minister into this matter. How could he argue? Coming out to receive them this time was the most regrettable thing in Wang Han's life. If he had known this would happen, he would not have come out no matter what. He could have just sent someone to receive them, but he was so angry that he almost fainted. He was so angry that he almost died. You said it yourself. And so, Zhuo took 2 more spider lilies. While he was admiring the Wang clan's long history and deep heritage, he also felt that there was a flaw in this otherwise perfect situation. My family has lost them before. Young masters, the heavens are watching. Enough is enough. Wang Han's lips were trembling uncontrollably. Are you not done yet? Let me ask you, has your family ever lost a Wang clan? Have you? Li Chenglong was still blabbering on, but Zhuo Xiaoduo already knew that this was the Wang clan's limit. If they continued to drag it out, they would not be able to do anything if they insisted that they did not. After all, it was not yet time to fall out with them. Especially since they could not waste so much time here, the gains would not make up for the losses. Since today's blackmail was successful and the humiliation was in place, this was about it. Ha! So Xiaoduo laughed. That's it then, Master Wang. I will take my family's things and leave. Seeing that we are all from the same place in the Astral Soul's mainland, I will not report this matter to the police. This will save you some trouble. Even if the Wang clan is the war god's clan and has not lost its glory, there is no need to be labeled as a thief. Wang Han's face darkened as if he was about to vomit blood. Thank you very much for your magnanimity, young masters. Chapter 1228. Li Chenglong muttered, there's a lot of evidence in hand, and you're just going to let it go? Boss, you're too magnanimous. I have to say a few words to you. Even if you don't care about these odds and ends, there are still a lot of high-quality resources. In my opinion, you should capture them all. What glory of the god of war. There's such a big bandit family in Shanjing. I feel deeply worried about the safety of the lives and property of the people of Shanjing. Taking people's things. Humph. Too shameless. Too shameless. I can't stand it anymore. Intolerable. There are actually such shameless people in this world. This is really an eye-opener for me. There are all kinds of strange things in this world. This is really too easy for them. Wang Han could no longer endure it. A mouthful of blood rushed to his throat, but he finally understood the current situation and swallowed it back down with a gulp. He knew that if he really vomited blood, not only would he be ridiculed by the people in front of him, but he was afraid that there would be waves again. The Wang family head was starting to act again. He was really a good actor. Could it be that he was going to stage a venomous slander? Long Yusheng and the others saw all of this. They tried hard to hold back their laughter, but their stomachs were hurting. As they were about to go out, everyone suddenly found a white-haired old man in front of the door. He looked old and senile, as if he would fall to the ground if the wind blew. This old man was wearing a green robe. He was bent over, leaning on an armchair. In his hand was a sword, a sheathed long sword. At this moment, he was rolling his eyes, looking at Zhuo Xiaoduo. He gasped and said, You are Zhuo Xiaoduo. Are you a descendant of the minister? Who are you? Zhuo Xiaoduo tilted his head and frowned. Who am I? The old man took a deep breath and said, I am Wang Lingyun. Wang Lingyun? Zhuo Xiaoduo said that he had never heard of it. However, Li Chenglong's expression changed, and he hurriedly sent a voice transmission. Wang Lingyun is the eldest grandson of Senior Wang Feihong, the heavenly king of startling heavens. He's also the founder of the Wang clan. Back then, when Heavenly King Wang passed away, he left behind an only son. He raised 7 children, and Wang Lingyun was the eldest. He single-handedly established the Wang clan, and it continues to this day. This old man is the Wang family's oldest surviving ancestor. So Xiaoduo nodded, indicating that he understood. Wang Lingyun, right? Why are you sitting here? What do you want? So Xiaoduo asked condescendingly. After knowing his identity, so Xiaoduo didn't dare to address him casually anymore. He chose to call him by his name. Although this old man's age was obvious, even if Heavenly King Jinghong was of the same generation as Zhuo Changlu, his eldest grandson, Wang Lingyun, was still a generation younger than Zhuo Xiaoduo. Wang Lingyun was at most a third-generation descendant, but Zhuo Xiaoduo lived up to his name. He was a pure second-generation descendant. Therefore, Wang Lingyun couldn't even use the title of Old Master Wang in front of Zhuo Xiaoduo. You slander my Wang clan for stealing for no reason. You used the name of the minister to blackmail my clan. Do you know how much damage this will cause to Grandpa's reputation? Wang Lingyun rolled his eyes and glared at Zhuo Xiaoduo. His voice was already weak, and he panted for a while after each sentence. After a long while, he finally finished his sentence. Then, He raised the sheathed sword in his hand and said indifferently, I may not have the right to control you, but even Grandpa would feel sad if he saw this sword. This is the sword of Heavenly King Jinghong, the Jinghong sword. It was given to my ancestor by the minister. Wang Lingyun said angrily, Zhuo, if you know what's good for you, leave the sword behind. My Wang clan can give you a gift in return. We're close friends, and I don't want to make things too unpleasant. Otherwise what? Zhuo said indifferently. What do you want? Wang Lingyun trembled as he tried to stand up, but he was unable to do so. He gasped for breath repeatedly. After a long while, he said, Zhuo, are you really going to disregard the minister's reputation for petty profits? This is the minister's reputation. Zhuo was silent for a while. He could see the anger and disappointment in this old man's eyes. Finally, his heart softened, and he said, Wang Lingyun, you look like you haven't been out for a long time. You haven't touched anything outside, right? Wang Lingyun was stunned when he heard this. What do you mean? You said I tarnished the minister's reputation, but how much do you know about the current situation of the Wang clan? Zhuo said coldly. Do you know why I'm here today? What's the reason? Do you know why I didn't go to another clan? Why did I come to your Wang clan to do things? Do you know why? Wang Lingyun was stunned. He only knew that a descendant had gone in to complain about how Zhuo had bullied the Wang clan. Now, the Wang clan had been wronged to death, so he came out in a fit of anger. But he didn't know the inside story at all. He turned to look at the Wang clan members around him. He looked at them one by one and finally stopped on Wang Han's face. After a long time, he said uncertainly, Who are you? Are you the current clan head of the Wang clan? What's your name? He didn't know Wang Han, but he recognized the clan head's robe and accessories. Wang Han stepped forward and knelt. Ancestor, I am Wang Han, the current clan head of the Wang clan. Wang Lingyun didn't speak. He closed his eyes and thought for a long time. Then he muttered, You said that the descendant of the sky inspecting minister came to our Wang clan to extort money, and didn't stop even after emptying the warehouse. Is there such a thing? Wang Han took a deep breath and said, Yes, there's such a thing. This is the truth. Wang Lingyun took a deep breath and said, Is Grandpa Minister still alive? Li Chenglong said, loudly from the side, The sky inspecting minister is now recognized by the 3 continents as the #1 expert on the same level as the Flood Witch. His power can suppress the universe, and his spirit can reach the heavens. A few days ago, the 3 continents fought the Flood Witch in front of hundreds of millions of troops, and they were evenly matched. Wang Lingyun's eyes were filled with tears. He muttered, Grandpa Zhuo is still the pillar of the astral souls continent. Congratulations. Then he fell silent. There were many things that were too clear. The minister was still alive and the #1 expert in the world. Then, who did Zhuo need to extort money from? He didn't even need to open his mouth to ask. He only needed to sit at home and wait for the gifts to arrive, as long as he was willing to accept them. Then, how could he come to the Wang clan this time to extort money? Wang Lingyun was silent for a long time. Then, he said coldly, What did the Wang clan do? What did we do wrong? Why did someone come to our house like this? He wasn't asking Zhuo, but Wang Han. Wang Han's face changed. He kowtowed, but didn't say anything. Wang Lingyun's expression became complicated. He couldn't stand still anymore. He slowly fell on the chair and hugged the startled sword to his chest. He sighed. After a long time, he said, The minister is still alive, and his power shakes the world. Wang Han, what is so special about our Wang clan that the minister's descendant would come to the Wang clan to extort money from us? What treasure does the Wang clan have that even the minister's descendant would covet? Why would he come to extort money in broad daylight? Wang Lingyun said weakly, He is still here. Obviously, he hasn't had his fill yet. You, take it out and let me see. Wang Han didn't dare to speak. He was still silent for a long time. Wang Lingyun murmured, Well, you can tell me directly. This old man is very curious. Our Wang clan actually has something that could catch the eye of the minister's descendant and covet it. This is a great honor. Wang Han and the rest still didn't answer. Wang Lingyun suddenly shouted, "Take it out. This old man wants to see." He opened his eyes. Even though he was old beyond recognition, he still exuded a powerful aura that soared into the sky with a loud roar. His eyes were shining so brightly that no one dared to look at him directly. The tiger was old, but its majesty was still there. Wang Han trembled all over. He still didn't say anything. He couldn't defend himself and didn't dare to. At this time, a descendant of the Wang clan couldn't help but say, "Zhou Xiaoduo took away our red spider lily, all our top-grade jade of astral souls, countless heavenly treasures, the heart of stars. Even the iron shelves in the warehouse were taken away." Wang Lingyun was silent, as if he didn't hear anything. He just looked at Wang Han and said lightly, "Are the Wang clan's rules already like this? The person I asked hasn't replied yet, but there's someone beside me who speaks so quickly." He waved his hand tiredly and said lightly, "Drag this one away and punish him according to the clan's rules. After the punishment, drag him back for me to see." The people beside him didn't move. Wang Han hurriedly shouted, "Didn't you hear the elder ancestor? Drag him away. Beat him." Immediately, two people dragged the speaker away. Then there was the sound of a board being beaten. Wang Lingyun's eyes were still fixed on Wang Han, but there was a layer of darkness in his eyes. "Speak," Wang Lingyun said. Wang Han lowered his head and said, "It's like this, elder ancestor." "Ha ha!" Wang Lingyun suddenly laughed mockingly. Then, he looked at Zhou Xiaoduo with a disheartened expression. After a while, he said in a low voice, "Zhou Xiaoduo, how should I address you?" Zhou Xiaoduo was silent for a moment and said, "According to seniority, you should call me uncle. You should call me uncle." This sentence was like a bolt from the blue, suddenly ringing out. At this moment, the faces of all the Wang clan members were dead silent. There was no color in their faces. This sentence was full of meaning, or it could be said that it was too clear. Wang Lingyun's eyes suddenly lit up. He suddenly struggled to stand up and was about to kneel down. Zhou Xiaoduo hurriedly supported him. "Let me kneel down," Wang Lingyun begged. "In the world, no one dares to pretend to be this person. Since the identity is real, I can't lack etiquette. This is human relations. This is friendship. There's no need. I don't want to have any relationship with the Wang clan." Zhou Xiaoduo said lightly. Wang Lingyun smiled bitterly. "I understand." He looked at Zhou Xiaoduo and begged, "Can you let me talk to Grandpa Zhou or Grandma Zhou?" "No, I just want to hear the voices of the elders." Wang Lingyun trembled and begged, "I'm going to die. Grandma Zhou, she held me when I was young." Chapter 12:29. Zhou Xiaoduo was silent for a long time. "Just say that. I stopped you and wouldn't let you go. I want to hear what Grandma Zhou has to say. Just a few words will do," Wang Lingyun said. Zhou Xiaoduo understood. The old woman still had a glimmer of hope in her heart, or rather, a glimmer of unwillingness. Zhou Xiaoduo took out his phone expressionlessly, dialed Wu Yuding's number, and put it on speaker. "Mom, what's the matter?" Wu Yuding's voice came from the other end. "The Wang family stole something from our family. I came to take it, but they wouldn't let me go," Zhou Xiaoduo said. "How dare they?" Wu Yuding said angrily. "They stole from our family, and they want to just let it go? What do they steal? Let them pay back 10 times. The mother and son cooperated well. Wu Yuding knew that her son was using the tiger's skin as an excuse to make a big deal out of it. But since it was her son who was causing trouble, as a mother, she naturally had to cooperate perfectly. On the other side, Wang Lingyun's tears fell. She sobbed and said, "Grandma Zhou, it's Xiao Yun." On the other end of the phone, Wu Yuding's voice paused. "Xiao Yun, are you still alive?" "Grandma Zhou, it's me," Wang Lingyun wailed. "Xiao Yun, Wu Yuding sighed and said, "How many years have you been away from the world?" "It's been more than 4,000 years. 4,800 years. Wang Lingyun sobbed and said, "Since Ling passed away, I've been away from the world. Well, before that, I didn't care about anything." Wu Yuding sighed faintly. "So, you don't know anything about what happened all these years?" "I don't know." Wu Yuding's voice came. Xiao Duo. Yes. Take Wang Lingyun out. Wu Yuting sighed and said, don't forget to bring the startling sword. This. So Xiao Duo was stunned. Taking away someone else's ancestor in their home. What was that supposed to mean? How could Wang Han and the others be willing to let their final protective talisman be taken away? If you can't take him away, I'll send you Dong Tian and Yun Zhonghu over. They have the ability to take him away. Wu Yuting's voice sounded faintly. Yes, not only did they have the ability to take people away, they also had the ability to wipe out the Wang family in an instant. The heavenly kings of the left and right had both arrived. When Wang Han and Wang Zhong heard this message, their faces turned ashen. From today onwards, Wang Lingyun is no longer related to the Wang clan. Wu Yuting said, Xiao Yun, are you willing? Wang Lingyun sobbed. I'm willing. Grandma's what, can I ask? Why? Wu Yuting said indifferently. Your uncle will naturally tell you later. Things in the world are unpredictable, and karma is never pleasant. With that, she hung up the phone. Wang Lingyun burst into tears, like an orphan who had been separated for thousands of years, suddenly reunited with his family. Although she had only heard his voice, her heart was already surging with emotions. She couldn't stop the urge to cry. Wang Lingyun was an old man who had lived for more than 10,000 years, and the flame of his life had reached the end and was about to be extinguished. However, the admiration at this moment was so overwhelming that it was difficult to suppress it. What do you say? So Xiao Duo asked. I'll go with you. Wang Lingyun replied without any hesitation. Ancestor. Everyone in the Wang family knelt down neatly. Wang Lingyun took a deep breath and said, I'll go and see what you've done. If you're really unforgivable, then I won't come back. Don't tarnish the ancestors' glory anymore. I'll take this startling sword away. If there's still room for redemption, I'll beg Grandma Zwat to let me come back with the startling sword. Wang Lingyun said resolutely, Don't kneel. You're destined to not be able to keep me. I don't even recognize you anymore. Wang Han took a few steps forward on his knees, looked up and cried, Ancestor, didn't you hear what Grandma's was said? Wang Lingyun said coldly, Don't tell me. You want the left and right heavenly kings to come and take me away? Wang Han lowered his head and lay on the ground, crying loudly as if his father had died. No, even if his father had died, a sly old fox like him would most likely not be so pitiful and miserable in his 7 emotions. When Xiao Duo and the others pushed Wang Lingyun out of the Wang family in a wheelchair, only the sound of crying could be heard behind them. Everyone from the Wang clan was kneeling on the ground. They were all covered in dust, and their eyes were filled with despair. They knew very well. Today, Wang Lingyun had left with the startling sword, and the Wang family had lost their last hope. The dying Wang Lingyun was not the Wang family's last hope. The real hope was the startling sword in his hand. The War God's sword. That was the trump card that could save the Wang family. It was also the last mark left by the War God of the continent, Wang Feihong. If one person and sword left the Wang family at the same time, they would lose their last trump card. However, no one dared to say anything at this moment. No one dared to say a word. The minister madam had said very clearly that if Xiao Duo could not do it, she would immediately send the left and right heavenly kings over. With just one order, the left and right heavenly kings would arrive here in half an hour. Even at the peak of the Wang family would not be able to resist the combined power of the 2 heavenly kings, not to mention the Wang family that was now in a precarious situation. He would definitely leave. Looking at the old figure that was like a candle in the wind, slowly walking to the door and leaving the Wang family mansion, Wang Han could not help but be filled with hatred. He could not hold it in anymore. He said loudly, Ancestor, I have something to say. Wang Lingyun's withered face twitched. He patted Long Yuxing's hand that was pushing the wheelchair and turned around. Speak. Wang Han stood up suddenly, straightened his back, looked at Wang Lingyun, and said loudly, Wang Han is not talented, but as the current head of the Wang family, Now that ancestor has decided to leave, I would like to represent all the descendants of the Wang family to ask ancestor a question. The withered look in Wang Lingyun's eyes did not change, like a pool of stagnant water. He said lightly, "Ask." "May I ask, ancestor, since ancestor has broken out of the door today, does ancestor intend to completely cut ties with the Wang family? You even took away the startling sword that the descendants of the Wang family rely on as their life support and the greatest glory. Have you ever thought about the future generations of the Wang family? Not even a little bit?" Wang Han's face was filled with grief and anger as he questioned loudly. Zhou Xiaoduo was furious and was about to refute. Wang Lingyun slowly raised his withered hand and stopped Zhou Xiaoduo's hand. He said gently, "Little uncle, let me solve the Wang family's problem. You have to pay for what you have done. As grandma's was said, the world is unpredictable and karma is never good." He turned his indifferent gaze to Wang Han's face and said indifferently, "I understand the meaning of your words. Do you think that the Wang family will lose its strongest protection if the startling sword leaves the Wang family?" Although it was embarrassing, Wang Han had no choice. He raised his head and said, "Yes. If the startling sword leaves, the Wang family will be finished. Ancestor, please show mercy and give the descendants a chance to live." Wang Lingyun did not speak for a long time. After a long time, he coughed and said, "So you have really done things to the extreme." Wang Han lowered his head and did not speak. "So you have really made a big mistake, to the point where you need the ancestors' help to save your life. That's why you told me today that the minister's descendant came to provoke you and asked me to step in. Indeed, everything in the world has karma, and karma is not unpredictable." Wang Lingyun sighed. "Ancestor, please show mercy." The Wang family members shouted in unison. In order to survive, they did not care about their reputation anymore. Wang Lingyun's withered face showed a mocking expression. He held the startling sword with both hands and said lightly, "You should all know that a magical sword has a spirit, right? Back then, my ancestor wielded a sword in white. One man and one sword, he killed all the heroes in the world. He never bowed, he never retreated. He would rather break than bend. He would rather die than retreat. That was my ancestor's illustrious name." Wang Lingyun's gaze was distant, as if he saw his grandfather Wang Feihong, who was dressed in white like a sword. In all his memories, he had never seen his grandfather's white robe stained with dust, and he had never seen his grandfather bend his back for even a second. He was always so proud and upright, looking down on the world. He was dressed in white under the cold sky. He chilled the 3 continents with one sword. "Heavenly King Jinghong," Wang Lingyun recited slowly, full of coldness, white robe stained, on the peak of the ice mountain, proud and elegant sword. The entire place was silent. Although they did not have a good impression of the current Wang family, so Xiaoduo and the others could still feel their blood boiling when they heard about Heavenly King Jinghong's deeds. It was as if they could see that proud and aloof swordsman in white robe. When there was no one left to fight, he came out alone with his sword. One man and one sword. He faced the countless heavenly king experts of the Umno Alliance and proudly challenged them. "If you can defeat me, Wang Feihong, you will win." His proud and upright body did not bend even when he died. He would rather turn into a bright star than accept the defeat that would determine the fate of the continent. That earth-shattering explosion still reverberated in the hearts of generations of the Star Soul Continent's ancestors until this day. Back then, my ancestor fought against the heavenly kings of the world alone. He used this Jinghong sword. Wang Lingyun looked at the sword in his hand. "This sword is as proud as my ancestor. You want it to protect you? Let's not talk about whether you deserve it or not. Dare you ask it if it is willing?" Wang Lingyun's voice was as calm as water, but his old face slowly turned red with anger. It was obvious that his heart was not calm, and he was extremely angry. He pulled out the sword with all his might. Light flashed, and it was as if all the frost in the world had descended at this moment. This was the power of the sword itself. After Wang Lingyun pulled the sword out of its sheath, He threw it out. The long sword somersaulted in the air a few times, and light shone in all directions before it landed on the ground with a clang. The tip of the sword stabbed into the hard ground of the Wang family's old residence. The long sword flickered and swayed slightly. Although it was just a sword, although it no longer had an owner. However, this sword was still as aloof and proud as ever. Stabbed into the ground, it was still at the peak of the ice mountain, looking down on the world and shocking the world. Cold and arrogant. No one was worthy of being associated with it. The sword swayed, and the frost was still cold. A sense of anticipation was faintly emitted. It was as if it was waiting for its owner's big hands to come and hold the sword hilt again. Come and hold me. I will accompany you to fight the heroes of the world again. Come quickly. After a long time, the sword finally stopped swaying, but the feeling of anticipation had gradually vanished, and it transformed into a feeling of loneliness, and sorrow. It was filled with a feeling of loss and sadness, and it effused out from the sword. Where did you go? Why didn't you come? After losing its partner, the Jinghong sword had been lonely until now. Now that it was out of its sheath again, it was still sharp, still cold, still radiant, and still full of fighting spirit. It wanted to fight the world again, but it no longer had that person to accompany it in the martial world. Clang, clang, clang. The Jinghong sword let out 3 sorrowful sword cries. Chapter 1230. Clang, clang, clang. The startling sword let out 3 sorrowful sword cries. The glow of the sword slowly retracted, and there was an endless sense of loss and silence. Just like an abandoned puppy, it curled up in the corner. Wang Lingyun looked at the startling sword and said word by word, Wang Han, can you ask the startling sword if it is willing to be your shield for your mistakes? Wang Han looked at the motionless startling sword and took a step forward. Just as he was about to speak, clang! A loud and clear sword chime suddenly rang out, coming from the startling sword. Everyone present could hear the uncontrollable anger in this sword hum. It was a kind of extreme shame and humiliation that couldn't be any stronger, surging emotions. This caused everyone present to feel the same way, and they were indescribably shocked. With a flash of light, the startling sword that was clearly not controlled by anyone pulled itself out from the ground and spun in the air. The sword light shot out in all directions and stopped steadily in mid-air. The tip of the sword was pointed at Wang Han's glabella. A massive sword intent that was filled with humiliation, anger, and irritation suddenly spread out. The sword could not speak, but at this moment, everyone could feel its meaning. It was clear. Don't use such things to humiliate me. That was what the startling sword wanted to say. There was no doubt about it. Wang Han stood rooted to the ground and stared at the startling sword. His body was stiff, and he could not speak. Wang Lingyun sighed deeply and moved the scabbard in his hand. In midair, the startling sword let out a sword cry, as if it was still angry. With a spin, it returned to its scabbard with a soft sound and returned to silence. The sharpness of the sword that challenged the world also disappeared quietly and turned into loneliness. Wang Lingyun burst into tears and stroked the startling sword. He choked and said, the startling sword was unsheathed this time and did not find its ancestor. It returned to its scabbard in disappointment. I'm afraid it will never be willing to come out of its scabbard again. So Xiaoduo and the others sighed softly. Looking at the startling sword that was shrouded in a deathly atmosphere, they felt complicated but did not know what it was. Although they were young geniuses with outstanding cultivations, their life experiences were still shallow. They were unable to experience the loneliness of 10,000 years. Once, the man and the sword were one, and they had promised each other that they would never leave each other. Now, the sword was still there, but the man was gone. Wang Lingyun turned his wheelchair around. He really couldn't bear to look at these unfilial descendants anymore. Ancestor! Behind him, the Wang family members cried out mournfully. Wang Lingyun never looked back. The Wang clan is no longer mine. The Wang clan is yours. Before my grandfather died in battle, he asked a few of his close friends to take care of the Goof family's descendants. At that time, his grandfather had said, "This war requires sacrifices. If we don't sacrifice blood to the heavens, how can we achieve peace? The two of you are the pillars of the astral souls and cannot be lost. If this battle requires someone of sufficient weight to die, then I, as the first in line, will be the one to do it. If anything happens to me in this battle, I'll have to rely on my brothers to take care of the Wang family." Wang Lingyun said indifferently, "Is this all you remember?" "No, or should I say, that's all you remember?" These words were well known throughout the entire continent. Who didn't know of Heavenly King Wang's heroic deeds? Not to mention that the Wang clan had spread it intentionally or unintentionally. It could be said that everyone knew about it. Back then, when the minister and the emperor sent the ancestor back, they deliberately spread these words to the world, but they concealed the last part of the ancestor's will. The minister and the emperor did not say it for the sake of the Wang clan, but the ancestor's will is still engraved in the ancestral hall. Don't you remember? You just don't want to remember, or you don't want others to remember or know. Wang Lingyun said in a low voice, "Whether you remember or not is irrelevant, because I still remember. I'll read it to you now. The remaining part is, if my descendants do well, brothers, help me out. If they don't and use my meager contributions to bring disaster to the continent, please eliminate them as soon as possible. I, Wang Feihong, am a hero of my generation. I believe that I'm not ordinary. Don't let my unfilial descendants tarnish my name. I'm fighting for the world, not to be a protective umbrella for the little brats. If my descendants are unavoidable, don't wait until they're gone before you act. Remember that I, Wang Feihong, cannot afford to lose that face. The startling sword is enough to protect me for my entire life." Wang Lingyun stroked the startling sword in his hand lovingly. Hot tears rolled down his face as he said, "Wang Han, everyone of the Wang clan, don't tarnish my grandfather's illustrious name. Let's go." He pushed the wheelchair out. Long Yuxing hurriedly stepped forward and took over pushing the wheelchair toward the door. They walked until they were far away, but there was no more sound behind them. The countless Wang clan members behind them looked on in a daze. They knew clearly that the last barrier, the last protective talisman, had disappeared. Wang Lingyun sat in the wheelchair and looked at the scenery on both sides of the street listlessly. He wanted to see this world and recall the past, the places where he had walked hand in hand with his beloved wife. However, he hadn't left the Wang clan's old mansion for a long time. The outside had changed greatly. As far as the eye could see, it was strangely unfamiliar. It was a completely different world, and he couldn't even recall the scenery. His white hair fluttered in the wind. His expression was blank, and so was his gaze. A sense of desolation rose spontaneously. "Linger, this is no longer the world that you and I are familiar with from beginning to end." He didn't look back. After pushing him for more than 10 minutes, Wang Lingyun said softly, "Little uncle, let's hurry." "Okay." Zhuo Xiaoduo picked up the wheelchair. Everyone jumped up and returned to Zhuo Xiaoyan's small courtyard as fast as lightning. Before leaving, Zhuo Xiaoduo only wanted to bully and humiliate the other party. He never thought that he would actually invite the ancestor of the Wang clan back. Moreover, it was his mother who asked him to invite him back. Looking at Wang Lingyun sitting in the villa, Zhuo Xiaoduo couldn't help but have a headache. He didn't know what his mother was thinking. In short, he felt that everything was so strange. It was indescribable, and indescribable that LV Yingfeng came to say goodbye. "Xiaoduo, I'm going back." "Then take care. Take care of Grandma LV. I'll visit you in a few days." LV Yingfeng walked to the door and turned to say, "Xiaoduo, I've put the spatial rings of those things in the cracks of the sofa. Use them well and improve quickly." Zhuo Xiaoduo was stunned. "What are you doing? That was for you in the first place." LV Yingfeng shook his head and waved his hand. "The LV family doesn't need so many resources. You're all Chantian. You're all good children that your old principal thinks highly of. As long as I can see you improve and achieve more, I'll be satisfied." He looked at Zhuo and the others kindly and said with relief, I've already benefited greatly from the fact that you thought of inviting me along today. Xiao Duo, although the LV family may not have the ability, this old man still wants to continue to cultivate the genius that my daughter fancies and cultivate the person she painstakingly cares about in her life. Remember to work hard. LV Yingfeng smiled, turned around, and walked out of the door. Zhuo Duo and the others were all excited. Receiving LV Yingfeng's heartfelt praise was no different from receiving the old principal's praise. For Zhuo Duo and Li Chenglong, this was happier than any praise. Wang Lingyun looked at LV Yingfeng's back with admiration in her eyes. She praised, Who is this person? His open-mindedness is the best in the world. Zhuo Duo and the others had the same thought, but they missed He Yuanyue even more than they rejoiced. Li Chenglong and the others wanted to talk to Wang Lingyun, but Wang Lingyun was not willing to do so. Right now, I urgently want to know what exactly the Wang clan has done. Wang Lingyun looked at Zhuo Duo with her sunken eyes and pleaded, Little uncle, let me see. Okay. Zhuo Duo sighed and gestured for Li Chenglong to give him the information. Li Chenglong thought for a while and began to organize the information. He divided all the information into 3 parts and gradually let Wang Lingyun understand them one by one. Wang Lingyun couldn't wait to pick up the first book with trembling hands. That Zhuo Duo gave Li Chenglong a look, and Li Chenglong expressed his understanding. He already had a few bottles of heaven's turning water in his hand. If Wang Lingyun became emotional and something happened, he would immediately take it to protect her. Then, Zhuo Duo read Wang Lingyun's fortune. His heart sank, and he slipped out to call Wu Yuding. Mom, yes, you picked him up? Yes. Good. But because of this, your identity is almost exposed. Basically, you know everything you need to know. What do you think? Puppy, are you ready to be a rich second generation? This seems to be your biggest wish in life. Wu Yuding joked with her son. Mom, Zhuo Duo said with a bitter face, I've been risking my life every day. How can I enjoy being a rich second generation at all? Wu Yuding laughed. Silly boy, let me tell you, this is what a rich second generation is really like. Do you think the second generation is just eating and waiting for death? Do you think our generation can only nurture rich playboys? Let me tell you, from ancient times until now, except for a very small number of people with mediocre talent who only have the ability to preserve their achievements, the rest are basically all exhausted to death. Being forced by their own parents to the point where they have nowhere to go is nothing but a trivial matter. This is the real life of a rich second generation. Because of corruption and playboys, the real big families, the descendants of real heroes, or the heirs of dynasties, all of them didn't start from the second generation. Because the first generation is wise and powerful, how can they allow their children to be playboys and corrupt? You want to be a salted fish when you're just a dog? You must be crazy. Wu Yuding's accent was very heavy. Zhuo Duo smiled bitterly. How could he not understand this? But the second generation he had pinned his hopes on was never the second generation in this sense. Okay? At least, it was completely different from the second generation he had pinned his hopes on. Well, is it because I'm too outstanding, too talented? So, it's my fault. Chapter 12:31. Zhuo Duo sighed. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have tried so hard to enter the path of cultivation. If that was the case, would he have been able to become a second-generation heir? That still wasn't right. If that was the case, Nian Nian Cat wouldn't be fated with him. Even if he was willing and Nian Nian Cat was willing, his parents wouldn't agree to it. Sigh. Life is always so difficult to be perfect. While Zhuo thoughts were running wild, his mother's political class didn't stop. She had more to say and went on for a long time. Understand, Mom. You're calling to ask about Wang Lingyun, right? Yes. This is what your father and I wanted. Wang Feihong only had one son, but he died in battle early. Both husband and wife died at Sun Moon Pass. At that time, Wang Lingyun was only 7 years old. His younger siblings were even more immature. Wu Yuding sighed and said, Wang Feihong loved this grandson the most. Even when Wang Lingyun grew up and had children, Wang Feihong would still bring gifts for Wang Lingyun every time he returned from the battlefield. And his last words were very clear. It was enough to protect his grandson for the rest of his life with the Jinghong sword. In other words, the one Wang Feihong couldn't let go of the most was his grandson. Only his grandson. Wu Yuding said, to be fair, Wang Lingyun didn't let Wang Feihong down. He lived a simple, conscientious, and honest life. He built the Wang family single-handedly and maintained the Wang family's traditions for 3,000 years. At that time, the Wang family could be said to be the #1 family in astral souls. They did things openly, and their traditions were stable and prudent. They didn't tarnish the name of the god of war for astral souls at all. But because of the death of his beloved wife, he was too sad and went into seclusion. After so many years, I thought he had already passed away. I didn't expect him to still be alive. Wu Yuding sighed and said, so you have to understand that the Wang family can be destroyed, but this Wang Lingyun, your father, and I can't ignore him. I understand. Don't worry, Mom. How is Xiao Yun now? Wu Yuding asked with concern. Very bad. His entire body is thin and shriveled. Only a handful of bones are left. So Xiaoduo sighed and said, I don't have much lifespan left to begin with. After today, my lifespan will inevitably be reduced. Although we've already brought him out, it's hard to save him from the shadow of a candle in the wind. From what I've read, Wang Lingyun will pass away in half a month's time. It's not something that can be stopped by anyone. No matter how miraculous the elixirs are, it will be difficult to extend his lifespan. Half a month. On the other side of the phone, Wu Yuding suddenly fell silent. Then, Zhuo Changlu picked up the phone. Obviously, he had been listening by the side. Zhuo Changlu's calm voice rang out. Xiao Duo, I'm here. Do you have a way to extend Wang Lingyun's life? I want to hear the truth. Yes, the Heaven-Mending Stone can do it. Zhuo Xiaoduo gave an affirmative answer immediately. Then, he said in distress, but the biggest problem now is Wang Lingyun himself. I can't see any signs of life in him. Just now, he strongly requested to see the Wang family's information and evidence. I'm worried that after he sees it, his remaining lifespan will be destroyed again. So Changlu sighed and said, tell Wang Lingyun that I still want to see him. Tell him to hang in there. Okay, perhaps this was the only way to let Wang Lingyun stay in this world for a little longer. There were too few things in this world that could move him. Zhuo Xiaoduo sighed. On the other side of the phone, Zhuo Changlu and Wu Yuding also sighed. At this moment, a heart-wrenching roar came from the villa. I'm so angry. Then there was a loud bang. So Xiaoduo hurriedly said and immediately walked back. Don't hang up, Zhuo Changlu said hurriedly. Put it on speakerphone. In the room, Wang Lingyun's eyes were wide open. He stared at the file in front of him in disbelief. His whole body trembled and his eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. His face was red and he roared hoarsely. These are really done by our Wang family. At this moment, the guilt and shame in the old man's heart reached the extreme and almost burst out. He had a premonition that the Wang family, which he had ignored for a long time, was rotten. They've bullied people, dominated the market, killed people, and even interfered with the imperial court. After all, he had been in charge of the Wang family for 3,000 years. He had long been used to the filth of the world, but he had always kept his original heart. However, the more he read, the more frightened and cold he felt. The content recorded in the file was all kinds of immoral and bottomless, all kinds of heartless, all kinds of unimaginable, all kinds of inhumane things. It was actually done by the God of War family that I founded. The old man only felt his heart shattering bit by bit. His whole body was filled with cold and hot feelings. His mind was endless, but it also felt like thousands of things were happening at the same time, one after another. Li Qinglong opened a bottle of heaven's returning water and stepped forward to feed him the medicine. However, he was pulled to the side by Wang Lingyun. Wang Lingyun trembled and suddenly stood up. His eyes were red as he screamed, "This is my Wang family? This is my Wang family? This is the God of War family. The Wang family? His fingers trembled and the file rustled. Suddenly, his face turned red. How can I face grandfather in the underworld? How can I face? I. Suddenly, he choked on his breath. His throat made gurgling sounds, and his eyes bulged out. Li Chenglong screamed and hurriedly supported the old man. He forced the bottle of heaven's returning water down his throat. Wang Lingyun struggled violently and refused to take the medicine. It was obvious that he wanted to die. However, Li Chenglong didn't care about him at all and forced the medicine down his throat. Oh my God, how can I face myself to continue living? Wang Lingyun wailed. The Wang family that I founded with my own hands. I thought that I inherited grandfather's great prestige and the glory of the god of war. However, after I ignored it, I let the family fall step by step into this state. I am full of sins, too many to record. I created a huge tumor for this continent. It harms the common people and is extremely poisonous. He screamed at the top of his lungs as tears streamed down his face. His hands slapped his head with all their might, making loud banging sounds. He never would have thought. There were countless things in the file. Every single one of them was the result of the wrath of the heavens and the resentment of the people. They were all evil deeds that couldn't be resolved even if they were chopped into pieces. As for the Wang clan, they actually made an entire thick book. It was truly too numerous to record, and it was extremely poisonous. Is there more? Is there more? Wang Lingyun grabbed the file. This is only from the past 20 years. What about before that? What about before that? Is this generation's clan head muddle-headed? What caused the Wang family to fall into such a state? His eyes flashed with extreme desire. He hoped that he could get a definite answer. Li Chenglong said indifferently, "This is indeed only the file of the Wang family's misdeeds in the past 20 years. In my hands, I also have all the evidence of the Wang family's crimes in the past 3,000 years. The crimes of every 20 years are no less than this file. It's just that for the previous files, even the ancestors of the victims have all died. It's useless even if I show it to you. It's meaningless." Wang Lingyun slammed the table and shouted angrily, I want to see every single file. Show it to me." His eyes were already filled with dead silence and ashes. That was the appearance of someone who had nothing left to live for. Obviously, if the Wang Lingyun who had just arrived had a trace of hope, a trace of life, now he was in complete despair. He didn't want to live anymore. He muttered, "After I die, I want to go and ask grandfather for forgiveness. These mistakes, I want to say them all, report them one by one. I am a sinner. Show it to me. Show it to me." Li Chenglong saw that old Master Wang Lingyun was already in a state of delirium. He was extremely worried that something bad would happen to him in the next second. Even if he had the water of reversal, it would be useless. However, who was Li Chenglong? His brain worked quickly, and there was no one who could match him in this world. He could only think and come up with the idea of fighting poison with poison. He snorted coldly and said, "What are you shouting for? Aren't all these things done by your descendants? Aren't all these good things done by your children and grandchildren? How can you shout at me so righteously? Order me around? If all the files and evidence are taken out, this villa won't be able to fit them all. Can you look through them all alone? A month, a year, or the rest of your life?" Li Chenglong sneered. These words were extremely unpleasant, but it calmed Wang Lingyun down immediately. He also calmed down. His face was full of shame and shame. His old body trembled. Suddenly, he curled up on the sofa. He covered his face with his hands and cried silently. Drops of tears leaked out from between his fingers and dripped onto the Jinghong sword. The Jinghong sword still had no reaction. It was as if it was dead silent. At this moment, a voice was heard. "Wang Lingyun, what do you want?" This familiar voice made Wang Lingyun tremble all over. He stood up instinctively and then stood at attention. "Grandfather's wa." Zhuo Chonglu's voice came from the phone. "Look after your grandfather's Jinghong sword. Even if you want to die, you have to watch the evil family you created be eradicated." This malignant tumor still exists in this world. Do you want to die just like that? End all troubles? Look at the Jinghong sword in your hand. Think carefully about how to restore the reputation of the god of war. Zhua, Chonglu shouted. The Wang family you created was never the god of war's family. Don't you understand this layer of cause and effect? Your grandfather only wants to protect you for the rest of his life. Do you know? You're no longer a member of the Wang family. You're just your grandfather's grandson. Do you understand? You're already so old, crying all the time. Even if you don't find it embarrassing, I find it an eyesore. Zhua Chonglu said angrily. Your grandma's Zhua, and I can't go back now. You stay in Shangjing and look after your uncle. Don't make us worry. Can you do that? Chapter 1232. After a thunderous reprimand, Wang Lingyun finally calmed down with a face full of shame. After hanging up the phone, Wang Lingyun began to take the initiative to find medicine to stabilize his mind, calm his state of mind, and recuperate. He no longer wanted to die. On the contrary, he urgently wanted to live until the day he could see Grandpa Zhua and Grandma Zhua again. Zhua Xiaoduo was not lying when he said that he had the confidence to save Wang Lingyun's life. Wang Lingyun's lifespan was almost depleted, and his body was in a terrible state. It was not something that could be healed by any kind of elixir. However, this was not a difficult task for Zhua Xiaoduo. Zhua Xiaoduo had infinite vitality and a huge amount of vitality given by Elder Wan. As long as he did not want someone to die, as long as he provided the target with enough vitality, the target would not die even if they wanted to. As for the crippled body, it was even simpler. Wasn't there still the heaven-mending stone? That was a sacred object that could heal even a heavenly king-stage powerhouse's body in an instant. Treating a person who was in the twilight of his life was just a small feat. Zhua Xiaoduo first stuck the heaven-mend stone on Wang Lingyun's body so that his body could bear the life force. Then he used the life force in his spiritual sense space to stabilize Wang Lingyun's vitality. Then he used 1/3 of the laurel honey to strengthen his divine soul. It was not that Zhua Xiaoduo did not want to give more. It was that Wang Lingyun could only bear so much. Wang Lingyun's lifespan was about to come to an end, and that was the biggest problem. Once his lifespan was completely exhausted, his life would naturally come to an end. That was the true meaning of the heaven-mending stone. Zhua Xiaoduo sighed. When you were young, you overdrew your life potential to improve your cultivation. And more than once? Wang Lingyun was surprised. Uncle, you really have a sharp eye. Zhua Xiaoduo sighed. After that, when you found that your lifespan was about to end, you used your vitality to forcibly prolong your lifespan. Wang Lingyun was completely stunned at this time. Grandpa Zhua and the others knew about overdrawing their life potential, but they didn't dare to do so after being scolded. Because his initial dream was to break through to a higher level of cultivation regardless of the cost. He wanted to inherit his grandfather's legacy and enter the battlefield with a startling sword, hoping that the name of the god of war would not be tarnished. However, reality was exceptionally cruel. Even though his will was as firm as a boulder, his body truly did not have that kind of talent that could be cultivated. Like Wang Lingyun, who was unwilling to accept this, he secretly overdrafted himself many times and advanced all the way until he was not inferior to any of the outstanding talents of that time. But later, his true identity was discovered by the minister. He was severely reprimanded and ordered to return home. He was never allowed to set foot on the battlefield again. It was also because of this that the Wang clan existed. However, no one knew that he had used the art of dispersing vitality, condensing his life spirit, and forcibly prolong his lifespan. How did Zhua Xiaoduo know? You did it twice. The former drained your foundation, and the latter made your already broken body even more unbearable. Although you can struggle at death's door, your vitality will not be restored, and your cultivation realm will not exist. Your body will not be able to take any nourishment. Even if you get a heaven-defying elixir or a miraculous pill, you will not be able to enjoy it. Zhua Xiaoduo expressed his heartfelt sigh. Even if he used all his means to treat Wang Lingyun with his current condition, he would at most be able to maintain his life for a year. After that, there was no other way. And this lifespan was the upper limit of Wang Lingyun's art of dispersing vitality. Wang Lingyun smiled. It's okay. I know my own body's condition. With your help, I have enough time. I will definitely be able to see Grandpa and Grandma. He sighed softly. At that time, my wife was still healthy, but I was already at the end of my life. In desperation, I had no choice but to use the art of dispersing vitality. I dispersed 90% of my life's art of dispersing vitality. Against heaven's will, I restored my life spirit to the divine reigning destiny and gained an additional 5,000 years of lifespan. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with my wife, but I did not expect that. After only a few decades, my wife would suddenly die. From then on, we would be separated by life and death. Sigh. He stared blankly ahead, lost in thought. As for why Wang Lingyun's wife could die, he did not continue. But Zhou Xiaoduo understood that there must be a rather long story behind this. Uncle, Grandpa asked me to look after you. But I hope you won't be angry and don't think I'm nagging. Wang Lingyun said very carefully, in addition, the things that the Wang family has done these years. I also need to take a look and confirm the situation. Speaking of the family, he finally sighed. It's really a great shame. I, as your nephew, am really ashamed. Zhou Xiaoduo had a nephew who was more than 10,000 years old. He also felt uncomfortable all over. Not to mention that this was the ancestor of the Wang family, that when he heard that Wang Lingyun wanted to organize the Wang family's files, he immediately felt relieved and said, just do what you need to do. If there's anything you need to ask, just look for Li Chenglong. He's an expert in this field. And it's best to gather all the questions before asking. He's very capable, but his temper is not good. After a pause, he continued, is there anything you can't let go of in the Wang family? Or do you need anything? And other things. Wang Lingyun smiled bitterly, no. Zhou Xiaoduo frowned. For example, your direct descendant. Son? Grandson? Wang Lingyun sighed. When I was in charge of the family, my children were all driven to the battlefield by me. Until now, even my great-great-grandchildren have all died 7,000 years ago. When I was in charge of the family, the Wang family was pretty good. If my children were still alive, the Wang family wouldn't have fallen to such a state today. No matter how bad the family is, how could this bunch of bastards be in charge of it? Don't think about me. Wang Lingyun was completely disheartened. I just want to do my part now. I'm not here to make any requests. If I still shamelessly make any requests, how can I face Grandpa and Grandpa Zhou? Firstly, I don't have the face to make any requests. Secondly, there's no one I want to save. Look at the actions of the Wang family in recent years. It shows that the current Wang family has long decayed to the bone. There is not a single person who is qualified to continue living, including me, the one who started all of this. Their sins are grave and unforgivable. Wang Lingyun said with tears in his eyes. Zhou Xiaoduo's eyes flashed, and he said, perhaps the Wang family still has some babies in swaddling clothes. Wang Lingyun shook his head decisively. No need. They say that the babies are innocent, but they were born after drinking the blood of the people and eating the flesh of the heroes. How can they be innocent? Wang Lingyun gritted his teeth and said, the Wang family. Let it be. I was muddle-headed and only knew how to immerse myself in the memories of the past, completely ignoring the affairs of the world. Otherwise, the Wang family would have long been reduced to ashes in my hands. How could I allow this bunch of bastards to tarnish the reputation of the ancestors? Zhou Xiaoduo nodded secretly. So, I'll arrange a room for you on the first floor. There's a living room, a study, and a bedroom. You can quietly read the information of the Wang family these years. In addition, if they're guests, if you want to, you can meet them, or even old friends of the past. Okay. Wang Lingyun agreed immediately. Looking at Wang Lingyun holding the Jinghong sword and entering the study, the back view that was struggling to support himself, but was actually extremely lonely. With so many elixirs, it was enough to greatly improve his body and even his current best condition. However, there was no change in the aura of a dying man. That was already within the scope of the heart, and it was not something that could be healed by elixirs. So Xiao Duo sighed deeply. The few words just now had already made each other's bottom line clear. Wang Lingyun really did not have any thoughts about the current Wang family. Even he himself was a walking corpse, a living dead who only had one last thought left: the glory of the family. So Xiao Duo sighed softly. Is it really that heavy? Li Chenglong said softly from the side. Everyone's experiences are different, and they each have their own understanding of these 4 words. It's especially heavy on Wang Lingyun, probably because his grandfather is the Jinghong Heavenly King. The glory of the god of war is supreme and cannot be tarnished. In Wang Lingyun's heart, this was many times more important than the family. Even his own reputation is not worth mentioning compared to that of the god of war. That's why he felt so uncomfortable and couldn't bear it after knowing the truth. Li Chenglong sighed and said, I think if Uncle's phone call hadn't stimulated his last bit of vitality, perhaps Wang Lingyun would be lying in a coffin now. Sai, how's your sorting of the clues? The clues are actually very clear. The only problem now is where the 15th star is, or what method they use to activate it, and their mode of action. Li Chenglong sighed. Zwa, Xiao Duo laughed. Do you want to solve it in advance and take drastic measures to deal with it? Swish, this is the heavenly Tao. Moreover, there's an extremely brilliant Qi diviner behind the other party. Well, speaking of this Qi diviner, I reckon his attainment is not below mine. In fact, he is even stronger than me in terms of pure Qi diviner. Zwa, Xiaoduo's expression was somewhat heavy as he said, if it wasn't so, I would have sensed something by now. However, this person is so cautious that he doesn't want to be tainted by karma or even cut off karma. He is really amazing. Who is he? It was a pity that Li Chenglong couldn't help him on this point, and neither could his friends. Let's practice. So Xiao Duo sighed. About the same time, in a cafe in Shangjing, a man and a woman, both of whom looked ordinary, were having a meeting here. Something big happened in the Wang family, the woman said. What happened? The man took a sip of tea. I don't know what's wrong with Xiao Duo. He gathered people to cause trouble in the Wang family, blackmailing them. Deliberately disgusting, and then... Chapter 1233. The woman recounted the incident in detail. The man gritted his teeth as he listened, his emotions surging. This shit stir. How could he do such a thing? It's really love. Only someone with no moral integrity would do such a thing. The woman frowned and sighed. The key issue now is no longer about moral integrity. The biggest problem is, Xiaoduo's identity has been exposed. It's completely exposed to the eyes of the higher-ups. The man said, it's related to the Sky Surveyor throne, right? Is he a member of the throne's side branch, or a descendant? The woman smiled bitterly and shook her head. Neither. Xiao Duo is actually the Sky Surveyor throne's biological son, the only son of the first wife. What? What did you say? The man could no longer maintain his composure. He stood up abruptly, almost knocking over the coffee table in front of him. The woman was already prepared for this reaction. She reached out a hand and held the coffee table firmly. Biological son? Are you serious? The man's face was instantly covered in white sweat. His eyes were filled with fear. Yes, that's right, the woman said with certainty. Looking at the man's reaction, the woman did not have the slightest intention of mocking him. This was because when she first received the news, her reaction was almost exactly the same as this man's. In fact, it was even worse than this man's. She had almost wet her pants on the spot. That remote little city actually hid the Sky Surveyor throne. This was super shocking news that would make one's eyeballs pop out. After a long time, the man was still trembling. She could not help but say, I know this news is very unexpected, but you don't have to be shocked for so long. Although she had almost wet her pants, she had not been shocked for so long. The man smiled bitterly. You don't know. He sat back in his chair in a daze. His fear was still lingering as he said, "So, Zhuo Xiaoduo's father is that middle-aged man from Phoenix City, Zhuo Chonglu? In other words, Zhuo Chonglu is a sky surveyor throne?" "Yes," the woman said with certainty. The man's entire body began to tremble again. He was shivering, and layers of cold sweat were dripping down his back. "What's wrong with you?" The woman realized that something was wrong. This reaction was clearly too much. I met him once in Phoenix City. I remember now." The man's eyes stared straight ahead. "At that time, I even had thoughts of killing him." Hearing this, a layer of white sweat instantly appeared on the woman's body. Her pretty eyes widened. You wanted to kill him?" His voice was hoarse and filled with disbelief. At this moment, the woman's heart was even filled with admiration. Even in his wildest dreams, he hadn't expected that this guy in front of him would have the guts to make a move against the sky inspecting minister. "Do you know that with a single breath, you'll be reduced to ashes?" And then, after that, I don't know why, but I didn't make a move. After that, I was vexed for a long time, feeling that I had wasted an excellent opportunity. Now it seems. The man's sweat hung on the tip of his nose, sparkling. It was too frightening. It was too horrifying. It turned out that I had thought of such an awesome plan. The woman in front of him thought about that scene for a while. Although she was shocked, she couldn't help but feel that it was ridiculous. Finally, she laughed and said, "Ever since I left Phoenix City, until just now, I've never really admired you. But today, I've decided that you'll be my idol from now on. Qingcheng, don't make fun of me." The man smiled bitterly as he wiped his sweat. The man was Meng Qintian, and the woman was Ning Qingcheng, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. The two of them were old acquaintances. Today, they were old friends who empathized with each other. In the Battle of the Soul washing battle with the Phoenix Vein, the Ning clan and the Meng clan were doomed eternally. The Meng clan was completely wiped out, and the Ning clan lost an entire household register. Only Meng Qintian and Ning Qingcheng survived. These two people didn't really have the bloodline of the Meng clan and the Ning clan, so they were lucky enough to escape. Ning Qingcheng had tried her best to find her biological father, but she couldn't find him. However, in the process of her search, she met Meng Qintian and Shangjing. Although the two of them weren't very familiar with each other in Phoenix City, and Ning Qingcheng didn't have a good impression of Meng Qintian, meeting an old friend in a foreign land made them acquaintances. Especially when the two of them had a grudge against the siblings Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan, they naturally got together. After that, the two of them gathered all the clues and verified each other bit by bit. Plus, after the Phoenix Pulse Soul Washing battle, a lot of information couldn't be hidden anymore that the two of them finally locked onto the enemy who had destroyed their families. That was Zhuo Xiaoduo. Now, as long as this name was mentioned, the two of them would gnash their teeth in hatred. In this way, the following matter became more and more logical. Meng Qintian successfully developed Ning Qingcheng as his underling. Ning Qingcheng didn't ask for anything else. She only wanted one thing, to avenge the Ning clan, to kill Zhuo Xiaoduo. Although her cultivation wasn't very high, and she didn't have a master to guide her after leaving Phoenix City, Ning Qingcheng's gorgeous face had become her greatest weapon, a beauty with a face score of 97 and above. How much destructive power could she create? It was really unimaginable. If Ning Qingcheng was just an ordinary person, it would be fine. This was because ordinary people couldn't withstand the conquest of cultivators. However, Ning Qingcheng's talent was a genuine genius. She just lacked the opportunity to go further. Since reuniting with Meng Qintian, her cultivation had improved very quickly. Now, she was already at the cloud transformation realm. This was already a very fast and shocking increase in cultivation. After all, not everyone could compare with the people in Zhuo Xiaoduo's team that, in fact, strictly speaking, Ning Qingcheng was 97 astral souls. She had a pure Yin physique. In terms of talent, she was even above Wan Lixiu, Gao Xiu, Dugan and Zhen Piapiao. In addition, Ning Qingcheng came from a big family. She had a natural, graceful, and luxurious temperament. Dealing with some martial artist men was just too easy. As long as there was a motive, Ning Qingsheng would never fail. She would wander among these men to obtain the information she wanted and obtain the things she wanted. However, in the end, she would be able to maintain her purity and not let anyone take advantage of her. She would also be able to let every man feel that this girl had fallen in love with them. This required a very high EQ, a very high IQ, a very high appearance, and a very high skill. It could only be achieved by combining all these factors together. Looking at Zhuo Xiao's team, even Gao Xiao, who was also known for her EQ, might not be able to achieve this. This was because Gao Xiao disdained to deal with men. However, to Ning Qingsheng, it was not a problem at all. She was like a fish in water. This time, dealing with Xiao Duo and creating the Heavenly Tao formation, Ning Qingsheng was even more devoted to it. She wanted to eliminate this great enemy who had ruined the first half of her life. The biggest problem now is that the Wang family has already regretted it. After knowing Zhuo Xiao's true identity, even if they were given 100 guts, they would not dare to touch Zhuo Xiao. Ning Qingsheng said, "Now, the other allied families of the Wang family are also anxious. Not to mention killing Zhuo Xiao. They even want to kneel in front of Zhuo Xiao's door. This is extremely disadvantageous to our plan." Ning Qingsheng was very worried. At this point, can they stop just because they want to? Meng Chantian sneered. "It's not up to them anymore." "What do you mean?" "The dragons are about to seize the veins. The veins of the earth do not care if you regret it or not. When it's time to erupt, it will erupt. And the veins of the heavens will not care if they regret it. The Heavenly Tao formation will not care even if they regret it. Since the formation has been formed, they will enter this formation no matter what." Meng Chintian said lightly, "It's not up to them anymore." "The head of the Wang family wants to see the master again," Ning Qingsheng said. "Refuse. Just say." Meng Chintian stopped halfway and said, "Let me ask my uncle first. See how to." Okay. That night, Wang Han received a letter. It was a letter from the master. There was no signature, just a few very ordinary sentences. "Brave warriors are reborn from death. Phoenixes are glorious because of nirvana. Aristocratic families rise through crisis. Heroes can only stand out in troubled times. Today, there are great changes. The 6 continents are about to return. Wherever the sun shines, there will be a reshuffle. The great waves wash away the sand. This is the time. There is no way out. There is only a slim chance of survival. The mysteries of heaven are hard to predict. The great Tao is 50, and the heavens have 49. Whether or not the future can be seen depends on this. If you retreat, you will be doomed. If you advance, you will die. You can choose. For those outside the world, the mysteries of heaven are not something I can predict. Today, this book is out. The only thing left is to cherish it. Perhaps there will be a day when I can drink with the descendants of the master." Just a few short sentences. It was a thin sheet of paper. Wang Han and Wang Zhong stared at the handwriting on the paper, only to feel their fingers tighten. Both of them were short of breath, and their faces were gloomy. "Wang Zhong, if we retreat now, what will happen to the Wang family?" Wang Han seemed to be asking Wang Zhong, but it also seemed like he was asking himself. "The Wang family will cease to exist. Perhaps we can preserve some of the children. But above 1 meter, regardless of gender, they will all be doomed," Wang Zhong answered quickly. This was an obvious fact. It was already the honor of the god of war to preserve a few children to continue the bloodline. Otherwise, even the children would be eradicated. What if we advance further? Wang Han's eyes burned with madness. If we lose, we will be doomed. Perhaps we can preserve a few children. It is the blessing of the ancestors. But the death of the others can also be foreseen. Wang Zhong said, "What if we win?" Wang Han asked, "Even if we win, we will have to hold on until the 6 continents return. At that time, the world will be in chaos. Countless masters will flock here. Even a minister may not be able to resist." Wang Zhong said lightly, "Even the masters who are reigning now, will suffer heavy casualties in the first wave. Chapter 1234. He was stuck between a rock and a hard place. Neither choice was right, so what choice should he make? Wang Han stared at Wang Zhong, and Wang Zhong stared back at his elder brother. Both of them looked at each other and saw the despair in each other's eyes slowly brighten up. That was enough. There was no need to explain further. Only the two of them knew clearly in their hearts. The situation was obvious now. The only chance for the Wang clan to survive was the dragons fighting over the veins. As long as the Wang clan, no, it didn't have to be the Wang clan. As long as someone or some force kills were Xiaoduo in the dragons fighting over the veins, then they only needed to hold on for a few days or hide for a few days, and the situation would be reversed. Because after the dragons fighting over the veins ended, a large amount of luck would be taken by the Wang clan, and the Wang clan's luck would increase dramatically. And the remaining luck would belong to the demon star, which would cause the noble spirit to soar to the stars. With such an obvious beacon navigation, the demon clan would return soon. Even if they didn't return with the continent, those peak experts would set foot on the continent before the continent returned. And when that time came, the heaven-inspecting minister couple wouldn't be able to care about the Wang clan. If this hope could come true, then the Wang family would be able to escape death from that point in time and have a chance to live again. In summary, there was only one prerequisite. The Wang clan had to be able to hold on until the experts of the demon clan or other races set foot on the continent. Wang Han gritted his teeth and clutched the piece of paper tightly. He muttered, "Victory or defeat, advancing or retreating, the result is the same. So why not advance? Choose the only way to survive. After I die, even if the flood overflows, as long as I can survive, what can I do?" Wang Zhong sighed softly. Now, there was really no way to advance or retreat. Life and death were in a dilemma. He had already done everything he could. Now, he could only entrust everything to others. At this moment, Wang Han suddenly felt a burning sensation in his palm. That piece of paper had actually started to burn silently. In the blink of an eye, there was only a handful of ash in his hand, and nothing else. Wang Han looked at the ashes in his hand and suddenly came to a realization. He said in a deep voice, "This is probably the great master reminding us that although some things have been done, as long as there are no traces left behind, everything is still possible. It's better to be known than seen by others." Wang Zhong smiled bitterly and said, "Perhaps this master just doesn't want to leave behind any traces related to him. That's all. The affairs of the world are unpredictable. Every step is a game of chess. It all depends on how you interpret it. Follow your heart. Everything is like that." Wang Han patted Wang Zhong's shoulder. "Second brother, I know you've made some arrangements, but now that we're at a dead end, it's good to have another choice. I'm going to give it a try." Wang Zhong sighed and said, "If there are no accidents, regardless of success or failure, both of us will die." Wang Han lowered his head and said, "How can I not know what you're talking about? But even if we stop now, do you think we won't die? We'll still die." The two brothers looked at each other and saw the burning flames in each other's eyes. They said almost in unison, "Then let's give it a try. After I die, I don't care about the flood. As long as I can live, there's nothing I can't do." Wang Zhong walked out of the study. He hadn't felt his blood boil for a long time, but at this moment, it surged through his body. "Then let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. In life, who wouldn't give it a try? How could one survive if they didn't give it a try?" Suddenly, a gust of cold wind blew. His heated brain slowly cooled down. When he returned to his study, he was suddenly stunned. He stood there in a daze. He was thinking about this matter, the whole thing, the whole process. For a moment, he was puzzled and confused. Why was it like this? Give it a try? Give it a try? Not to mention what he was going to give it a try. So what if he succeeded? Even if he succeeded, he would still go down in infamy for thousands of years. There seemed to be something wrong with this, because before today, he clearly had the intention to retreat. Even if he would be torn apart by 5 horses if he turned back and admitted his guilt, he still turned back. Turn back and be saved. since it was the last moment, and he would die no matter what. As long as he turned back, he might as well do his best to protect the reputation of his ancestor, the god of war. It was the greatest virtue to know one's mistakes and to face death calmly. Finally, his surname was Wang, and he was once bathed in the glory of the god of war. But why did he make up his mind to give it a try just now? Why? He turned back and wanted to go back to find Wang Han. This decision didn't seem right. But when he was about to go out, he suddenly felt dizzy. Maybe it's not a bad thing to give a try. Anyway, there's no worse result than now. Wang Zhong was in a daze for a moment and said blankly. 2 days later, Ancestral Dragon High Martial Arts and the Martial Arts Department released the list of people who would enter the Dragon's Fight for the Heritage this time. Hidden Dragon High Martial Arts. So, Xiao Duo, Li Chenglong, Xiang Chong, Xiang Bing, Gao Qiaoer, Zhan Piapiao, Pai Yibao Yin. Dragon Soul High Martial Arts, Li Zhongming. Jade Sun High Martial Arts, Yu Moyan Dugayan High Martial Arts, Long Yuxing, Wan Li Xiu, Zhou Yinqing. Nine Heavens Pavilion, Zhuo Xiaoyan. Ancestral Dragon High Martial Arts, Lan Bing Rui, Chen Xiaotian, Cheng Qingning. Ming Yuanhang, Kong Yunshang, Wang Zilong, Wang Zun, Jun Haoran, Jun Zhangtai, Jun Anmin, Wan Shuishan. In addition to the other miscellaneous places, there were a total of 50 people. And this list was quite different from the list of 30 people announced previously. But none of those families dared to hide their names. All of them gave up on the hidden rules of this competition. Everything was decided based on the true strength of the students. Therefore, in terms of transparency, this year's Dragon Scramble for Heritage could be said to be the fairest Dragon Scramble for Heritage in the past 3,000 years. In terms of the strength of the students, it was also a year of dazzling stars and gathering geniuses. In the past, the cultivation of the students in this year's Dragon Scramble for Heritage was basically the peak of the student cultivation, and most of them were at the early stage of the profound realm. But this time, not only were there students in the Skysoar realm, there were even a terrifying 21 of them. Such an explosive number of geniuses was really unprecedented. Among them, the Hidden Dragon High Martial Arts was the most dazzling and eye-catching. When Xingtian, Yi Changqing, and the others saw the list, they were almost crying tears of joy. Based on their best judgment, the Hidden Dragon High Martial Arts could only have 1 or 2 people enter the Dragon Scramble for Heritage. They didn't expect so many people to be selected. Looking at the names on the list, other than the Hidden Dragon High Martial Arts, there were also Skysoar Realm cultivators. How could the higher-ups of the school not be excited? Yi Changqing's tears flowed down his face. With this year's glory, the Hidden Dragon High Martial Arts could really be hidden dragons that could soar into the sky and look down on the world. As this year's headmaster and teacher, Yi Changqing and Wen Xingtian couldn't hold back their excitement. But the two of them still pretended to be indifferent and solemn as they accepted the congratulations of the crowd. Their expressions didn't seem to be very happy. They acted very steady, very dignified, and very indifferent. Everyone praised them one after another, as expected of the teachers and headmasters of so many genius students. Then, the two of them calmly left the school and arrived at Yi Changqing's villa. They quickened their pace and entered the villa's secret room. Wen Xingtian let out a loud roar and jumped into the arena. He roared, "Yi Changqing, let's fight." Yi Changqing impatiently rushed forward. "I'm in a good mood today. I'm going to beat you to death. I'm the one who's going to beat you to death." The two of them excitedly and crazily fought each other. They didn't dodge at all. Their fists landed on each other's flesh. This kind of battle lasted for an entire afternoon that if they couldn't vent to their heart's content during such a joyous occasion, it would really be unbearable. In the end, Yi Changqing rode on top of Wen Xingtian and pressed down on the mud like Wen Xingtian. He punched him again and asked, "Are you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy?" Wen Xingtian was beaten up until his nose was bruised and his face was swollen. He shouted excitedly, "Happy! Happy! Continue, use all your strength." Vice Principal Liu and Xiang Quangren, who had rushed over after hearing the news, stood at the door. Their faces were cold as they listened to this strange conversation. They couldn't watch it anymore. They really couldn't watch it anymore. Jade Sun High Martial Arts and Dragon Soul High Martial Arts were also in high spirits. This was also the first time since the establishment of their schools that a student had entered the ranks of the dragons fighting for the heritage. The joy of these two schools was equally crazy. This was a moment that made history. As for Zhuoxiaoduo and the others' alma maters, such as Garrison First High School, Water City First High School, and Phoenix City Second High School, the colorful flags fluttered and firecrackers sounded. Hu Riyun was so excited that tears streamed down her face. As soon as she received the news, she brought the offerings and went to He Yuanyue's grave with Li Changjiang. At this time, Sun Fengho and Jiang Zhongbin were one step ahead of the two of them. Old principal, your wish has come true, and it's more than fulfilled. In the newspaper and screenshots, the others were all wearing the formal school uniforms of their respective high martial arts schools. Only Zhuoxiaoduo and the others from Phoenix City's second high school were wearing the Snow White Hidden Dragon High School's martial arts robes. However, under the Hidden Dragon High School's emblem, there were not only the red embroidered words of Hidden Dragon High School, but there were also a few people who wrote the words themselves. Phoenix City's second high. The words were the same size as the 4 words of Hidden Dragon High School. Hu Riyun stroked the 5 words on the photo. Her heart was filled with mixed feelings, and tears fell like rain. The principal of Water City First High School, Gu Qianfan, was holding a big banquet to celebrate. He was celebrating while watching the news and newspapers with a smile on his face. However, when he saw the eye-catching handwriting on his Zhuoxiaoduo and the others' uniforms, he suddenly fell silent. His old face instantly turned red. He said shyly, "Let's go." Everyone was dumbfounded. It was supposed to be a good day to drink until they were satisfied. How could it be? Zhou Yunxing immediately understood the situation, and his face was full of shame. He bowed and apologized. "Old principal, I'm sorry. I really forgot. I was too excited." Gu Qianfan sighed. "It's not your fault. I was envious of He Yuanyue." Gu Qianfan may be better than He Yuanyue in terms of cultivation, martial arts, and connections, but when it comes to educating people and educating them, compared to Principal He, there's a world of difference. I'm not as good as her. Chapter 1235. The day of the dragon race for the heritage was getting closer and closer. All parties were making preparations in full swing, and their enthusiasm was unprecedentedly high. At this moment, a thick fog suddenly appeared at the location where the Earth heritage rose. Starlight flickered inside, demonic aura filled the air, and demonic flames filled the sky that after the fog covered the sky, people who were not related to the matter could no longer enter this area. As for the so-called related people, they were the owners of the 50 dragon vein tokens in their hands. As for the others, they were no longer able to enter. Those who tried their best to act rashly were going against the heavenly Tao. Therefore, no one knew what had happened inside. The martial artists of Ancestral Dragon Academy had experienced the dragon race for the heritage many times before, but they only knew that the fog was the mysterious space where the dragon race for the heritage took place. However, this was the first time they saw such a strange phenomenon. Previously, there was no starlight, no demonic aura, and no surging life force. Tomorrow, it was the day of the dragon race for the heritage. Are you ready? Yes. Have you brought everything you need? Yes. Check again. All the places where the students participating in the dragon race for the heritage were filled with such voices. The atmosphere seemed to be no different from the day before the college entrance examination before the disaster. After entering, it's just a fight for providence. There won't be any danger to your life. If you can't do it, don't force yourself. Although providence is good, it's only meaningful if you're alive to enjoy it. Yes, in Zhuoxiaoyan's small courtyard, Zhuoxiaoduo and the others were also receiving instructions. However, the people who were giving instructions were different, or rather, a little different. Many families sent notes to him, stating all the things he needed to pay attention to. There were also some family members who had participated in the dragons fighting for the heritage. They even wrote down their insights and the environment after entering in detail and handed them over. Department Head Ding of the Martial Arts Department came personally. In addition, the principal of Ancestral Dragon Academy and teacher Ding Ruolin all came to explain in detail the precautions and the many incidents in the past. This time, there's great danger inside. It's different from before. You must pay attention to your own safety, especially the Wong family. Those bastards will most likely do something desperate this time. Department Head Ding said in a low voice. Wang Lingyun sat at the side and rolled her eyes. Then, she picked up a book to read as if nothing had happened. But in his heart, he muttered, "This kid is most likely the descendant of Little Dog Ding. He looks like a damn puppy." Although Wang Lingyun had already severed ties with the Wang family, this old man had a new sensitive problem. As long as someone scolded the Wang family, he would instinctively feel that they were scolding him, Wang Lingyun. He subconsciously replaced the two words Wang clan with Wang Lingyun. How could his face not be burning with embarrassment? However, there were too many people coming and going, and Zhou Xiaoduo was already tired of it. He simply instructed Wang Lingyun, "You look after the house. We're going to cultivate. Then you must come back before 6 o'clock tomorrow morning." Wang Lingyun said, "Understood, understood. Don't forget, we have to be at Ancestral Dragon High School at 8. This was a group of dragons fighting for a vein. Time waits for no one." "Understood, understood. Little uncle, don't forget. And you guys, remind each other to pay attention to the time. This is a matter of a lifetime." Wang Lingyun nagged. Everyone hurriedly fled. The feeling of having calluses in their ears was so scary. The second day, which was also the day of the group of dragons fighting for a vein, finally arrived. Ancestral Dragon High School was filled with a sea of people. Red flags fluttered, colorful flags fluttered, and the sound of firecrackers roared incessantly. The rumbling noise went straight to the sky. The group of dragons fighting for a vein. The long-awaited 20th of May finally arrived. The 50 people who participated in this event were already in place. Well, it should be said that they were escorted by the people in charge of the various universities, including the principals and several vice principals, as well as the class teachers of the students who participated in the group of dragons fighting for a vein, such as Wen Xingtian, and so on. And the class teacher who produced the most geniuses this time was surprisingly Wen Xingtian, the class teacher of Wen University. Wen Xingtian's face was already smiling like a brilliant sunflower. There was no sign of the 100,000 slaughterers from before. His face was obviously stiff from smiling, but he was still laughing endlessly. Well, when Xingtian was being interviewed at this time, of course, the media would come to join in the fun at such a grand event. It had always been like this in Shangjing. Zhou Xiaoduo and the others were curling their lips at the side, and there was a question mark above everyone's head. The current teacher one, no matter how you look at it, is this really our teacher one? It's nothing. Ha ha. Actually, it's the children who worked hard. I'm just a guide. The so-called credit is just hard work. It's not worth mentioning. Not worth mentioning, haha. Yes, each of these children is very outstanding. Not only are they outstanding, but they also know how to work hard to achieve today's results. Ha ha. Happy, ha ha ha, so happy. It's true. It's all the children's credit. They worked very hard. Each of them worked very hard. And each of them worked very hard. Ha! Corporal punishment? No. No. I pay attention to teaching by word and example. When have I ever hit or scolded my students? A teacher who is good at teaching is used to convincing people with reason. The children are very obedient and have a high awareness. With just a few words, they understand everything. There's no need for corporal punishment. Corporal punishment is a sign of the teacher's incompetence. Ha ha. When Xingtian continued to brag, he talked so much that even he almost believed it. It was as if he had taught like this in the past. Zhou Xiaoduo, Li Chenglong, and the others were all expressionless, but they secretly touched their buttocks. Teacher Wen, how can you say something like this? Doesn't your conscience hurt? In this group of people, including the girls, who hasn't been beaten by you before? Duo. Haha, outstanding, outstanding. This child is the most outstanding, most diligent, most hardworking, and also the most talented child I've ever taught. He's very sensible and never let the teachers worry about him. To him, it's just a normal matter. Yes, I didn't know his identity at that time. Yes, Duo is the most united with his classmates in school. He's charitable, friendly, kind, honest, upright, and open. He often shares good things with his friends and shares the good things with them. That's why he's able to make so many friends. Haha. Yes, that's how he is. He's really a good child. When Xingtian directly flattered him as soon as he opened his mouth. EW. Li Chenglong's expression was distorted. What's wrong with you? Weren't you fine just now? Do you think that teacher Wen's evaluation of me is wrong? Is it not accurate? Duo asked with a dangerous expression. His tone was meaningful. You should think about it carefully. The breakfast I had in the morning seemed a little strange. Of course, teacher Wen's evaluation of Zhua is the truest. Li Chenglong said with a bitter face and wiped away his conscience. Long Yuxing and the others, who also wiped away their conscience, nodded in agreement. Just now, they really wanted to vomit that after this incident, they must ask teacher Wen Xingtian face to face. How did you think of those words when you praised Duo? Where is your heart? Where is your face? Teacher Wen, ask yourself, which of those words you said can be used on Duo, this big bastard, even if there is a little bit of it? On the other side, when Xingtian was still bragging, after he finished praising Duo, he began to praise Li Chenglong. He said that he was a generation's military advisor, that he was knowledgeable, that he was talented, that he was wise, that he could do what others could not, etc. But it was still within the basic range. Anyway, he was much more reliable than Duo. After that, he would talk about Xiang Chong, Xiang Bingpi, Ibao, Zhan Piapiao Gao, Chowrer, and the others. In short, this batch of students was well-rounded in moral, intellectual, physical, aesthetic, and labor. They were outstanding in culture and martial arts. They were kind, cute, hardworking, loyal, generous, and reliable, according to Wen Xingtian's words. Even if these students were regarded as national models and national stars, it would be a waste of their talents. They should be directly conferred the title of Heavenly King, or at least be a Heavenly King in preparation. That was the way to go. The face of the reporter in charge of the interview was already stiff from smiling. His hand that was holding the microphone was also sore. And this teacher, one, who was said to be 100,000 butcher and used to be a cold-faced killer, was still talking nonstop with a face full of excitement, saying, "Don't go until I'm done." Finally, thunderous applause sounded. The leaders of the various departments and the royal family had arrived. The ceremony had begun. Only then did the reporter escape from 100,000 butcher, who still wanted to continue, as if he had been granted amnesty after listening to the passionate speeches of the leaders. Each of them spoke very briefly. After all, there was not much time left for them. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. At the center of the area where the dragons were fighting for the heritage, a thick fog that was so thick that it was almost solid gushed out. A passage that was dazzling with stars slowly materialized from nothingness. The passage has appeared. With this command, the entire place was silent. Even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. Many of the students of the right age present looked at this passage with eyes full of envy and jealousy. This was the path to heaven. Unfortunately, they were not qualified to step on it and take large strides forward. However, the faces of the higher-ups who were familiar with the process of the dragons fighting for the heritage changed at the same time. In the past, there had never been such a dazzling starlight. There was only a passage that looked like a black passage. Why was the starlight so resplendent and dazzling this time? There must be something different about it. After you enter, the most important thing is to be careful. When the energy of the dragon surges, you must act according to your capabilities. Also, everyone is a part of the astral soul's human race. When you are in there, you must not fight or kill each other. Understood. All the students agreed in unison. At this moment, the passage had completely materialized. The starlight on the passage became even more dazzling. Prepare to enter. Minister Ding shouted. Chapter 1236. Each of the 50 people took out their own token. This was the certificate to pass through the cave entrance. Everyone had one, so it was useless. The students of Ancestral Dragon High School, who were at the front, were about to step in when they suddenly saw the wind and clouds gathering in the sky. Countless dark clouds surged and filled the sky from all sides, instantly covering the sky completely. As a result, the whole world instantly turned from a clear sky to a dark sky. It was difficult to see far. After a few more breaths, a few big stars in the sky seemed to be falling from the sky. With an unprecedented extreme brightness, they flickered. Big Dipper 6 stars. Demonic aura suddenly filled the air. Demonic fog suddenly rose, as if in the endless dark clouds there seemed to be a group of demons dancing, bewitching all living beings amidst the roaring thunder. The entrance of the dragon's snatching vein emitted an even more dazzling light. Without any warning, it directly shone on the dragon vein tokens in the hands of the 50 people. Enter. Minister Ding made a prompt decision and shouted. Lan Bingrue, who was at the front, jumped up without hesitation. Dressed in white, she was like a fairy walking on waves. She took the lead and entered the cave entrance, disappearing. Almost at the same time, everyone entered one by one, fighting to be the first. When it was Zhua Xiaoduo's turn, Minister Ding transmitted his voice. Safety first. Go. Zhua Xiaoduo nodded and jumped up side by side with Zhua Xiaonian, one black and one white. At this moment, in the dark clouds in the sky, there were suddenly dragons flying and phoenixes dancing. The dark clouds rolled, exceeding the heavens and the world. The two figures disappeared into the starry cave entrance. Let's go, Li Qinglong shouted. The 12 of them divided into 4 rows, 3 by 3, 3 by 3, and flew into the cave entrance in an orderly manner. The group of people entered in unison, without the slightest difference in speed. Minister Ding, the principal of Ancestral Dragon High School, and the others who knew about the dragon's snatching vein had their eyes lit up. The entrance of the dragon's snatching vein cave has always been the starting point of everyone's battle. It is also the prelude of this battle. But if there are people entering together, there must be multiple heads with the same mind. Could it be this is a team? Minister Ding's heart was shaken. If such a huge team of geniuses was really a team of people, then in the future, the remaining people also entered in a single file. When Zhou Yunqing entered, his entire body was surrounded by sword light. His entire body was like a sword of no return, shooting forward like a bolt of lightning. In just a moment, the 50 people who were present for this battle had already entered, and at the moment when the last person entered, the entrance of the cave suddenly turned into specks of starlight, dissipating into the thick black fog and disappearing without a trace. Let's wait. Let's see who's the first to come out. Minister Ding stood ramrod straight. His gaze and expression were solemn. There was a chair behind him, but he didn't sit down. The others didn't sit down either. At this moment, everyone was under a lot of psychological pressure. The minister's son was among the people who went in. This point was very important, perhaps unprecedentedly important. As everyone knew, the first one to come out would definitely be the one who obtained the most chi meridians and benefited the most. All the leaders were thinking about what to do if the first person to come out was not Zhua Xiaoduo. It had to be said that this question was really worth considering and pondering. The moment Zhua Xiaoduo entered the tunnel, he instantly felt that the tunnel was filled with some kind of mysterious energy. He tried to absorb it, but it was completely fruitless. He took a step back and flew forward hand in hand with Zhua Xiaonian beside him. Although they were flying through the tunnel, the two of them who were holding hands felt exceptionally sweet in their hearts. They couldn't help but have an impulse. Why don't we kiss in this tunnel? Zhua Xiaoduo turned his head, and Zhua Xiaonian also turned her head. Their gazes were filled with tenderness and sweetness. The moment they were about to take action, they felt their eyes light up. This is coming out. Quite a number of people who had already entered saw the two of them flying in hand sweetly and inexplicably felt their stomachs swell up. Under such a serious atmosphere, they were unexpectedly fed a stomach full of dog food without warning. This was simply preposterous. Three of them had a particularly complicated look in their eyes. Lan Bingrui, Chun Xiaotian, Cheng Qingning. However, as more and more people came in, more and more people had this kind of complicated look in their eyes. For example, Wang Zilong, Wang Ziyun, Jun Haoran, Jun Zhangtai, Jun Anmin, Wan Shuishan. Few people were lucky enough to escape. When Li Chenglong and the others came in, they naturally gathered around with Xiaoduo. Even Zhou Yinxing naturally joined this group of people. It was an obvious and unique large group of 15 people. It was a stark contrast to the situation where most of the others were in groups of 2 or 3 or fighting alone. Seeing that everyone had arrived, so Xiaoduo's eyes flashed. He quickly threw out 36 Tianji orders. Just as he finished throwing them out, before he could check what was going on, an unforeseen event had already happened. "Look at your feet," Li Chenglong reminded. Known as the generation's military advisor, Swollen's talents were not limited to his own talent. He was knowledgeable, meticulous, and cautious on a daily basis. Everyone instinctively looked down in the direction of the sound. He saw that the area where the 50 people were standing was shockingly within a large yellow circle. There were exactly 50 people standing properly in the circle. A dazzling circle of light stood on the ground. Under each of the 50 people's feet, there was another small circle. There was a yellow light connected to the outermost circle. At first glance, it looked complicated, but in fact, it was not messy at all. It was clear at a glance. Just as everyone noticed this circle, it suddenly started to spin. Then it gradually rose from the ground like a huge barrel of light, enveloping the 50 people inside. As the barrel of light took shape, the small circle under everyone's feet started to spin as well. However, it was spinning in the opposite direction of the barrel of light. Moreover, the force was so great that everyone's body was spinning at high speed like a top. At the same time, a thought suddenly descended. Everyone heard this thought, or rather, they felt it in their hearts. Dragons fight for the veins, the strong win. The weak do not deserve to have Tianji fate. Only life and death can determine survival and death. Only the strong have a future. The only supreme way is to fight. Every word was explaining the rules. You can fight, you can snatch, you can kill, and you must kill. You must kill the competitors to get the most veins and the most luck. This saying is completely different from a known saying of dragons fighting for the veins. It's completely different from the rules that the teachers, elders, and even Minister Ding said. Didn't they say that astral souls are not allowed to fight among humans? Are they not allowed to compete? Why? Why do they tell us to fight to the death? Fight to the death. What's going on? Could it be that the rule of dragons fighting for the veins has changed? Not only was Xiaoduo, but the others were also puzzled that perhaps there were some who were not confused, but now everyone was in the midst of an extremely violent rotation. Even if they were close, no one could see the others' faces as suddenly a murderous aura gradually enveloped the entire field. In the next moment, a whistling sound suddenly sounded, and the huge barrel of light suddenly sank. In the next moment, everyone was flung out like a shooting star. No one knew where they went or how far they were sent. So Xiaoduo only felt that the hand that he was holding with Xiaoyan was forcibly separated. His whole body was spinning, and he fell into a fog. In a flash, rays of light descended from the sky and covered the entire area. Following that, an unprecedentedly ferocious aura surged into the large circle. In the blink of an eye, the murderous aura suddenly burst out. The 15 rays of starlight hidden in this murderous aura flashed and disappeared without a trace. The heavenly Tao layout was completed. The Starduel game was also completed. Outside, the dark clouds that covered the sun began to rotate as if they were summoned. They seemed to be one and blocked the starlight in all directions. The power of the 9 heavenly Tao restrained each other. From now on, no one could move at all. The power of the 15 stars of the North and South Dipper could no longer descend through the clouds and affect the situation of the dragons fighting for the heritage. Yes, or it should be said that the power of the North and South Dipper had been jointly suppressed by the 9 heavenly Tao. They had been completely deprived of the right to enter the game or interfere with the situation. They could use the heavenly Tao to exploit the loopholes of the human race and create opportunities to intervene. They could even seize the only loopholes to sneak in. However, that was a fluke that they had fought for after a lot of planning and sacrifice. And this kind of power could not be repeated. The heavenly Tao would never allow them to do more. However, the power of the Stargate's intervention had become a fact. The heavenly Tao had to recognize it even if it did not. Moreover, as long as the people they injected with the power of Starlight won in the end and became the biggest winner of the dragons fighting for the heritage, then no matter how unwilling the heavenly Tao was, it would have to go against the heavens and feedback. At that time, the Starlight would rush in reverse and receive from above and below, completely breaking through the blockade and becoming the new protagonist of the world's destiny. However, if they could not, then the North and South Dipper would never be able to recover from this setback and would never have the chance to rise again. Even if the demon race returned and fought for the protagonist of the world again, the 15 Star Lords would still have to remain in a half-crippled state for countless years. This was because most of their power had already been connected to the star formation and projected here. Not only their cultivation, but also the power of their souls, divine senses, and spiritual thoughts were all injected. If they did not succeed, the once famous grand heavenly Tao experts would at most have the combat strength of a fairy in the future. This would be an incomparably huge loss. It could be said that this was a huge gamble. If it was not a huge gamble, how would they dare to bet with the heavenly Tao? If it was not a huge gamble, how would they be worthy of betting with the heavenly Tao? In another secret place, the 15 leaders of the Stargate were all sitting quietly. The 15 of them were in their respective positions, forming a star formation with 15 stars. However, everyone looked very weak, as if all their essence, energy, and spirit had been sucked out. Near them were the corpses of many disciples of the Stargate. Everyone had died peacefully. Chapter 1237. So many corpses were piled high, and there were thousands of them. Every one of them was an elite disciple of the Stargate sect. Now, no one was an exception. All of them had died here. Their lives and souls had been sacrificed to the Star Monarch. If not, how would they have a chance to pry open the cracks in the heavenly Tao layout? How would they have the chance to gamble? If the dragons snatching Polestar Alliance's plan succeeded, all of them would be able to become true Tao integration stage cultivators instantly. They might even be able to go one step further. This was because the power of these sacrifices would be fed back together with the immense power of Providence. But if they didn't succeed, the 15 of them would have to drag their bodies, which were even weaker than ordinary core martial artists, and escape. Furthermore, they would never be able to recover their cultivation base for the rest of their lives. The Stargate sect's plan this time could be said to be cutting off all means of retreat. However, this plan was the ultimate mission of the various Stargate sects. It was their ultimate goal. When the demon race left with the continent, they used all their means to make the Stargate sect stay. They even changed their identities and became a member of the UMNO Alliance. They were under the command of the UMNO Alliance. The Wu people suffered heavy casualties at that time, even more than the demon race. At the most critical moment, countless experts from the 15 Stargate sects self-detonated one after another. This could be said to have contributed greatly to the Wu people. It was also the cornerstone of the Wu people's lead over the Tao League and the Astral Souls. If not for this, the Wu people wouldn't have acknowledged the existence of the 15 Stargate sect. Even when they knew that they were up to something, they still couldn't take action against them. They even had to prevent the Astral Souls and the Tao League from targeting them. It was because of the kindness they had shown them in the past that they didn't kill them. Of course, the Wu people allowed them to pass on their legacies. At the same time, they didn't sit back and watch them grow. Otherwise, the Stargate sect wouldn't only be as powerful as they were today. They would only be able to set up traps and take advantage of the situation. Now, the day had finally arrived. They would fight against the heavens, against the 3 continents, and against the talents of this world. The most fortunate thing was that the star battle layout for the 15 Stargates had finally been completed. The 15 sect leaders felt their weak bodies. When they opened their eyes, they saw the countless corpses of their disciples. Their hearts were filled with indescribable pain. They did not dare to open their eyes again. They could not bear to see this scene of hell on earth. Even though they had long been prepared for this. Even though they knew that this day would come and felt that they had long been heartless, but when it really came to this point, that heartbreak was still hard to restrain. There was no way to suppress it. However, they were still sitting on their star positions, using their souls to stabilize the star array. Definitely, you must succeed. The 15 of them were screaming in their hearts as they prayed with all their might. The sacrifice was too great. The power of the stars and star lords had already been injected into the dragons, seizing meridian formation. There would be 15 Tao integration stage powerful beings inside to deal with Duo and the others. 15 Tao integration pinnacle stage cultivators. This level of cultivation had already surpassed the upper limit of the rules of the dragon's snatching pulse. This was because the participants of the dragon's snatching pulse had to be below the Tao integration stage. However, the star battle layout used the immense power of the stars to forcefully pry open the gaps and inject copious amounts of elemental energy. This caused the 15 people who were not Tao integration stage to be forcefully elevated to the Tao integration stage under the Star Lord's combination. Among these 15 people, some are not even fairy realm cultivators when they entered. This was to use the power that surpassed the rules to deal with those who were within the rules. Otherwise, how could there be any planning or planning? In such a situation where the strong were bullying the weak and the strong were suppressing the weak, how could they not win? How could they not win? Hence, this round was very stable. That outside Shangjing City, in the white cloud grass hut, Mr. Bai was calmly packing his things. Although he said he was packing, most of his things were actually untouched. The furnishings in the room were as usual. He walked out of the grass hut in his white robe. A few children bowed respectfully. Mister, all right, you guys take good care of the house. I'm going to travel in the mountains. I'll be back in 3 to 5 days, or 5 to 7 days. Yes, mister. By Yunting, going out to travel had long become a habit. Basically, he would go out once in a while. However, every time he went out, he would instruct the children like this. They were also used to it, and it had become a habit. If someone comes to look for me, Bai Yunting asked with a smile. Yes, mister, you'll be back in 3 to 5 days, or 5 to 7 days. If you have any requests, you can leave a brocade pouch. If you're free, you can wait here for a few days. You can come back after 5 to 7 days. The children replied obediently. All right, not bad. Bai Yunting laughed heartily. He looked very carefree. Then he took out some delicious food, fun things, and some resources for cultivation. He also took out a few bottles of elixirs. He reminded them earnestly, don't be naughty at home. Remember to cultivate well. Do you understand? In the future, you must be someone useful to the continent. Thank you, mister. We'll remember. The children were filled with gratitude. The elixirs are used to strengthen the body. Give some to Uncle Lee and the others. Don't take all of it. Bai Yunting smiled very kindly. His face was full of joy. Don't worry, mister. I won't. Yes, after I left, I've already placed the incense in my room. On the first day, I'll light the first batch. On the second day, I'll light the second batch. What about the third day? Bai Yunting asked with a smile. I'll light the third batch. The children replied excitedly. Yes, correct. When will it be? Noon. Ha, good. Obedient. Bai Yunting laughed loudly. His body floated up like a white cloud and flew off into the distance. When he was far away, he turned around and saw that the boys were still staring at him. He smiled and waved his hand. Then his body disappeared into the clouds like a white cloud and disappeared. Mister's really something. Every time he leaves for a few days, he has to joke with us like this. Who wouldn't remember such a small thing? A boy said with a smile. It's rare for Mister to treat us so well. You're still not satisfied. I know, but we're not children anymore. Tisk, you're not a child. Take off your pants and let me see. Do you have hair? Don't come over. After a short while, the children were already in a mess. They were laughing and chatting happily. It was peaceful. On the first day of Yunting's departure, at noon, the first batch of incense was lit by the child. On the second day of Yunting's departure, the second batch of incense was lit by the child. On the third day of Yunting's departure, the third batch of incense was lit by the child. Just like that, an hour later, there was suddenly a burst of thick smoke. The children were surprised and did not know where the change came from. Suddenly, there was a landslide and a flame that shot into the sky. It was a volcano that erupted without warning. It erupted from the Yunting's room and shot into the sky. Once it erupted, it was a terrifying sign of extinction. On a mountain where the Yunting grass hut was located, no one survived, be it humans or animals. The children were the first to bear the brunt and had long been turned into charcoal. The scorching hot magma, mixed with the extremely powerful eruption force, shot up more than 2,000 meters into the sky and penetrated the clouds formed by the power of the 9 heavenly Taos. It continued to erupt and rush up. A gap was formed in the thick dark clouds in the sky. It was not until the volcano stopped erupting after an hour that the gap closed again. However, after this change, another inexplicable force took action that the mysteries of the heavens were disturbed again. The original path of the mysteries of the heavens was returned to chaos and could no longer be traced. On the other side of the horizon was the interior of the Umno Alliance. Yunting, who was dressed in white and looked like an immortal, stood at the peak of the mountain and sighed softly. I'm really sorry. You are all my good children. It's a pity. I'm not blessed. Before he finished speaking, he had already floated down from the peak of the mountain and was heading towards the interior, towards the location of the Flood Palace. After a moment of dizziness, Zhuo, who had quickly regained his consciousness, opened his eyes immediately. He realized that he was already standing on top of a mountain, and in front of him stood a young man. The young man opposite him was tall and straight. He was dressed in white and had the school emblem of the Ancestral Dragon High School pinned on it. At this moment, his eyes were bright and his hands were behind his back. He had a graceful bearing and was sizing up Zhuo with a faint smile. Between the two of them, the chi meridians surged and circulated. A golden luck dragon that had already taken shape and had a color was surging up from the ground. The golden dragon turned its head and saw Zhuo at first glance. Then it shook its head and wagged its tail, intending to head towards Zhuo. Obviously, although this aura dragon did not have the intelligence of a divine sense, it would still instinctively choose to attach itself to the person with the strongest aura. However, before the aura dragon could move, the young man in white on the opposite mountain suddenly raised his hand. A ray of starlight rushed out and suppressed the aura dragon to the point that it could not move. The young man's figure slowly floated up in the air. He said indifferently, Zhuo, the son of the minister, you are indeed extraordinary and full of aura. I didn't expect to meet you here. I wonder if you know who I am, young Master Zhua? Zhuo frowned. Myriad Waters Mountain. Ha! Yes and no. I am Myriad Waters Mountain, but I am no longer the Myriad Waters Mountain of the past. The young man put his hands behind his back and said arrogantly, Starlight has entered my body, and the Lord of Stars has entered my body. I am already the chosen one. Although killing the son of the minister will cause endless trouble in the future, it is still a great opportunity to kill you here. After all, everyone wants to walk to the end and embark on the great Tao. Since the Lord of Stars has chosen me, I am naturally the chosen one who is blessed by the heavens. Zhuo, young Master Zhua, your luck is really not that good. Wan Shuishan's face was full of smiles. but his words were a declaration that Zhou Xiaoduo was about to die. Zhou Xiaoduo ignored Wan Shueishan's provocation and flipped through the heavenly secret order. He instantly understood. Wan Shueishan was a genius student of the ancestral dragon martial arts school. He was born in the astral souls continent. He was naturally intelligent and unruly. In the ancestral dragon martial arts school, he had always considered himself the #1 genius in the continent. He was arrogant and looked down on everyone else. However, it was also because of this that he looked down on Zhou Xiaoduo. He thought that Zhou Xiaoduo was only able to receive such preferential treatment because of his father's status. So what if his cultivation speed is fast? Isn't it just because he has a good father? If my father is the sky inspecting minister, I will be faster than him. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.